Now to see if this works. Whoa. Oh my gosh, there we are. Zero people are watching though. So really we can do whatever we want on here. Let me just pause this so I'm not looking at a delayed reaction of myself. Hey everyone. I kind of had to reteach myself how to use this because I haven't used it in 2 years since I haven't used it in 2 years since we did this for the Jesus Bro live streaming. But how does my audio sound? It's on a little bit of delay, so it'll be here in a sec. Sorry guys, I'm just waiting for the to let me know. They like your Mario pants already. The audio is good. Okay, sweet. Oh, well. All right, honey. Welcome to the next 12 hours of your life.
Well, I'm going to take a nap every now and
then. We'll just have nothing to talk about. Just...
You showed me the Robin Hood. Well, I've seen Robin Hood, but
Disney's Robin Hood?
Yeah, you showed me the.
Yeah, I did.
I've seen it before, but you were playing this thing that was on a loop of the beginning scene, like.
With Alan Adale, the rooster.
Yeah, and I was like, oh god, that's gonna be in my head forever.
It'd been a long time since you'd seen Disney's Robin Hood, right?
Kinda.
And we were talking about. How did it even come up? I mean, it always comes up when we talk about our favorite Disney animated movies. Oh, it came up because we were talking about that new Robin Hood movie coming out. I'm like, that's not my Robin Hood. That's not a fox.
Well, also with Double Toasted, I mentioned it too.
Oh, when they were talking about Disney cartoons that wouldn't be remade today.
Yeah, I liked the movie, but I just didn't really grow up with it.
Oh, I did.
And you were mentioning it a lot, and then you started showing me that Mr. song. I was like, oh my god, that's going to be in my head forever.
That's one of them that I grew up watching hardcore. I mean, it's in my top 5 of, like, Disney animated movies like that, along with Dumbo, Lady and the Tramp, Pinocchio, Beauty and the Beast. Robin Hood's in there. And honestly, out of the 5 of those, when I was a kid, Disney's Robin Hood might be the one I watched the most. Like, I don't know if I'd put it at number 1. Dumbo, I'd most likely put it number 1. And Dumbo, I watched a hell of a lot when I was a kid. Pinocchio would be my number 2.
Oh, I thought that was number 1 for you.
No, it's number 2, which means I hate it. Robin Hood is up there, though. It's just such a likable movie. It's so chill and just so mellow, man. When Alan Adale, the rooster, comes out at the beginning, that just totally sets up the mood for this film, where he's just like you all know the story,
John
Robin Hood, Roger Miller, yeah, those kind of like those of us in the animal kingdom have our own version of Robin Hood. I'm gonna tell you how it really was, or was it? Or whatever.
Yep, I'm in here too.
Oh my god, yeah. So later on in the movie, when they raise the taxes because they're making fun of Prince John, and they all end up in jail, and the rooster is narrating it again, like, if you couldn't pay your taxes, you ended up in jail. Pan up to the window. Yep, I'm in here too. I love that because they've arrested Friar Tuck at this point, and they're gonna hang him, and Little John goes in. They're doing a prison break for not just Friar Tuck because he's about to die, but also all the other animals in Nottingham, and so they go in, they get Friar Tuck, they unhook him, then they go to the main prison room where all the other animals are of Nottingham, and the first one that Little John runs to rescue is the rooster. We need our narrator, goddammit. How is anyone going to know how this story ends? Without the, he saves the rooster first.
Before the little baby rabbits.
And then King Richard came back and took care of them rascals.
Yeah.
Every time.
I watched the movie. I've seen it several times, but I think it's been a few years since I've seen it, and it was never one of my favorites. But I rewatched it. I was like, yeah, that movie's really, really funny. It reminded me a lot of like a Looney Tunes kind of thing.
It is. It is Looney Tunes style humor in the film, and also when we were watching it, and it's the archery competition scene, and there's just like pandemonium. People are like slamming into like brick towers, and there's like the sound effect of a train as it's going for it. And then like Lady Cluck is
the football thing.
Yeah, she's acting like a quarterback. And I said to you, I was like, this really is like Disney meets Robin Hood. And even though this movie came out first, even though Robin Hood came out first, it's like also like Animal House, like Animal House, Caddyshack kind of like humor to it.
Well, it is in the 70s. So.
73, yeah.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I appreciate it a lot more than I did before. But the scene that like made me laugh the most whenever I was a kid was when Robin Hood jumps on Little John's shoulders
at the beginning of the movie.
Me and my siblings, we would always rewind it.
Yeah.
In the beginning, it does that song like, how's it go?
Robin Hood, Little John walking through the forest. Yeah,
jumps on his
they
shoulders.
They just got high as fuck,
and he jumps on his shoulders and swings him on.
Yeah,
I was like,
someone made a good point in 1973. Troy Anderson in the chat makes a good point that in 1973 it's a Hicksploitation kids film, and it does have qualities of like a good old boy movie of the 70s, like a Burt Reynolds, Dom DeLuise movie, because it is like a combination of course, English folklore with Robin Hood, and you do have characters in there, the English accents, Robin Hood, Prince John, Sir Hiss, but also like
it would be cooking in a kettle, like, and making.
Well, the way Alan Adale is portrayed in it is like American folklore, and that like it uses folk music. Granted, like I did read where it was at one point earlier in pre-production, it was going to be a Western. Hey, Chloe. It was going to be a Western, so it's got like Pat Buttram and Phil Harris and all these people, like a lot of Western character actors or pop up in the movie. Kitty Lloyd's around here somewhere.
I heard him.
The chat. Go, Lloyd! No, this is Chloe, not Lloyd. Racist. Oh, Miss Chloe. So anyway, I should get into why we're actually doing this. You know what? I was thinking, no, hey, we got 12 hours, man. I was honestly thinking like this, albeit with like a better camera, of course, and we wouldn't necessarily be live streaming. This is almost like a good setup, like for a talk show. Like if I'm sitting here like interviewing someone and we got the blanket like draped over us, like say I interview like Gino or someone, or
wait, you guys are gonna be draped under the.
We're gonna be draped under the blanket because honestly, I can't give an interview unless I'm getting a hand job under a blanket. 12 hours.
12 hours.
Like Don Johnson at the end of Boy and His Dog. I've been milked clean.
Ew.
This is going to be 12 hours worth of me grossing out my wife.
No, like I said, I'm going to take a break every once in a while.
Too grossed out. So we are doing a 12-hour fundraiser for our IndieGoGo campaign, which is for our next movie, which will be for the sequel to the Cinema Snob movie, which is called The Cinema Snob to Chloe's Ass. But she wants in on the Lily Tomlin, John Travolta action. Wait till I actually show you that movie. We're doing a sequel to the Cinema Snob movie, and we're fundraising for it on IndieGoGo, so it'll be it's a $50,000 budget. We would like a lot more, honestly, because we would like to get some like kind of dream actors for some prominent roles in
she
the
was
movie.
headbutting me for what?
Oh no, it's fine. So, but 50,000 is like our minimum goal on it. So we're doing another 12-hour live stream. The name of the movie is Another Cinema Snob Movie, and we're gonna do this the same way that we did the Jesus Bro 12-hour fundraising. And honestly, I might do more than one of these this time. We just did one for Jesus Bro, and we did do another brief one like when we were in the middle of filming the movie for some post-production costs. Anyway, the way we did it last time, I've got two laptops set up here. I got one over there, this one here that we'll be talking into, and if you donate to IndieGoGo, there's a link in the bottom right there. There's a link in the description. If you donate to our IndieGoGo at the $50 level, then I'll email you, like, I'll be taking frequent breaks to go over there, and you'll be able to write us a message that we can read on the air. It could be a question. It could be something you want to promote. It could be something that you want to promote yourself. You want to promote your channel, any kind of business you have, or anything like that. You can do that at the $50 level. If you do $100 or more, we'll call you and bring you up on the phone, and you can ask us a question or anything. So go ahead and do that at the IndieGoGo link. I should probably maybe update that here. So yeah, $50 level. We'll read your message on the air.
There he is.
We'll call you at the 100 or more level. And you can call. We'll talk to you on air. Cool. Changes saved. Excellent. Hey, Big Bubba. Here's Big Lloyd. He knew that there was a camera going somewhere. Did he come up here himself, or did you force him in front of the camera?
I heard him, and he was laying down over there, so I was like, okay, I should bring him up.
Wicked stepmother.
I'm his wicked, evil stepmother.
Oh, Lloyd. Here he is. Oh, Lloyd's ass. You can see his ass.
Oh, Lloyd. You just Lloyd.
I need the biggest mug of coffee possible, because we've just barely started this, and I am already tired. I woke you up this morning. We set the alarm.
7.
Yeah.
Sleepy.
And I was like, well, honey, time to wake up. And you're like, And
well, because I was really congested last night, so I didn't really get to sleep very well.
I slept all right, but like I got up before the alarm went off, and I was like, are you ready to go get some breakfast? Because we live right by an IHOP. I'm like, you ready to go get some breakfast? You're like, I'm like, okay, I'll wake you up later. So I went to go eat.
It was like 9 o'clock.
I went to go eat breakfast alone.
Like a loser.
Like a loser. Yeah, they set me in the loser section, which was just the bathroom stall.
The wife is too sleepy section.
The wife is too sleepy. Yeah, sure section.
I was tired. I didn't want to wake up, and like you bolted out of bed and you're like ready to go. I was like, no.
You ready to go, champ?
I was like, I don't want to. I would have gone if I didn't have to get ready a little bit.
I should have put
my hair was all like naughty and stuff.
Yeah, it was being very naughty this
morning. No, I meant
like
my hair was tangled.
Yeah, I should have put the laptop just like in front of you and you were asleep. Like, you're on the air, honey.
I'd be so mad. It's live.
We're live, baby.
I'm on the camera. Oh God, that'd be embarrassing.
But hilarious. Do you want to show your collection now, or do you want to do that later?
Oh, we have 12 hours, but...
Well, it'll take about 10 hours. We do have videos popped up, by the way, too. Like we did this the last live stream, where we would show like if we needed a break, we would show like a Snob episode. And we'll be doing that throughout the day. I've got like the 3 Heaven's Gate episodes lined up because Yayo Gutierrez is in the second part of those, and it does have it has most of us on the cinemasnob.com, like in those. I've also got Let There Be Light episode queued up too. And a couple of other videos too, like some of the stuff that we did talking about info about the sequel to the Snob movie. Dave and Brian are actually out of town because it's like 4th of July weekend or 4th of July week. So a few of them are out of town. So
it's just me.
Gino's coming by later. Irving might. We went to go see Ant-Man the other day, and he might stop by later on if he can. But this isn't the only live stream fundraising we're going to be doing for this.
Don't worry, it's not just going to be me.
So if you want to, oh no, it will. I'm ducking out after like 3 hours.
I'm so not going to be on here alone.
Oh no, you'll be fine.
No,
I'm going to be like Jerry Lewis during the telethons. I'll be in it at the beginning and the end.
I don't know how to carry a conversation like by myself. Like,
sure.
With no one in front of me. It's just a laptop, and I can't really see the comments anyways. So.
Well, if you want to donate to our IndieGoGo, the link is down there. At the $50 level is when we'll read your message on the air. $100 level, we'll actually call you in. And when you do donate it's like with Jesus, bro. When you do donate to the perks, like, okay, say you're donating at the $100 level, you also get every perk that's underneath it too. The way that it's kind of structured on there is like a little confusing. Like it does say that in the description of them, but you actually have to click the description of them to see it. At first glance, it doesn't really come across that way, at least right away. But no, if you get, the $75 level that's got a couple of the Snob Uncut DVDs, you get like all the movies underneath it as well, which is a really good deal because it's like to get all of those individually is like way more than if you were to get them like in these perks. So if you're paying for like all these to get all these movies on the perks on the IndieGoGo, it's actually quite a good deal. And they come there, and there'll be like digital downloads too, like Jesus Bro digital download and DVD, Snob movie digital download, Snob movie 2 like DVD and digital download. Disco's just a digital download. The hard copies of Disco we only sell at conventions. So anyway, do you want to talk about your
collection?
Yeah, that'll be fun.
That'll be fun.
So let's not. Yeah.
Well, I'll have to bring it in here. So I have one of my favorite movies is Hunchback of Notre Dame.
It is your favorite movie.
It's one of my favorite movies. the Disney one. I do like the other ones too, and it's so embarrassing.
Why is that embarrassing? My favorite movie is Caligula. How is Disney's Hunchback?
It's a stupid movie. It has gargoyles. Like, I'm losing to a bird.
My favorite movie has someone with an ass on their stomach getting a rim job. Like, your movie, like, if you met my parents and said that your favorite movie is Hunchback, my parents would be like, right on. If I'm meeting your parents, I'm like, oh, my favorite movie is Penthouse Magazine's Caligula. I told my parents that your favorite movie is Yeah. Because it's the greatest movie of all time.
Well, he doesn't understand. He doesn't get it.
You just don't get it. You just don't get tying up. You just don't get tying up your urinary tract with a string and then force drinking a funnel full of wine.
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children.
It's the children that don't understand Caligula.
The children are wrong.
It's historical.
No, it's a great movie. I love Caligula. Okay, I'll go get it. But
she has I've got a Caligula collection. I got a collection of stuff from my favorite. It's all fucking in boxes and shit. But we just moved in here like a month ago, and a lot of stuff is still kind of boxed up because I've been gone for like half the month because I had every convention in the world in June.
I can't see that far. Is anyone saying they like the Hunchback movie? Because I'm not going to bring it. Who cares?
It's just several people going, I don't care. No, we'll bring it. It's actually really cool. Lloyd is part of her collection. This is a Luke's coffee mug, by the way. I got it at one of the conventions that I was at. One of the Wizard Worlds that I did. Des Moines, maybe. Ooh, we got I forgot I could see super chats on here. You can donate to super chat on here, and we'll see it. And if there's a super chat thing on here, I'll notice it and read from it. He asked me. It's so convenient to be able to scroll up on here, which I can't do on the live streams on midnight screenings, but. Preferably, I'd prefer donations to the IndieGoGo. If you're going to spend some money to get a question or anything, contribute to the tiers there on the IndieGoGo. But Lazarus Soul asks if I'm going to do a Nightbreed Snob review. I don't have any plans on that. If there was to be any kind of Nightbreed oriented thing on my site, it would probably be like a midnight screenings retro review. But yeah, so I don't have any plans to do that as a Snob episode. I don't see that happening. Like there's been things I've wanted to do on the Snob for like 10 years and haven't gotten around to it. And that's stuff that's just been on my head and it's taken 10 years to do. So something like Nightbreed, where I haven't really even considered doing that as a Cinema Snob episode. I can't remember really or I probably wouldn't get around to it. What classic TV shows do I have fond memories of growing up? Cheers. Yeah. Cheers, Miami Vice, Hill Street Blues, Night Court, Family Ties, Family Matters, because it was always on.
You like a lot of soap operas.
Oh, yeah. 80s Days of Our Lives with Patch and Kayla and Nick the Pimp. Hell yeah. Damn right, Days of Our Lives. Watch the hell out of that with my mom. I'm sitting in a recliner with a blanket draped over me. I am getting old.
Golden Girls.
I am getting, Golden Girls. Things on Nick at Night, Mary Tyler Moore Show, Dick Van Dyke
Friends.
Show. Friends I watched first run, like same with Cheers. I watched that first run too. What else did I watch on it? Mr. Ed, I watched that on Nick at Night. My favorite thing growing up as a kid and even as an adult is Looney Tunes. Like Saturday morning, that was primarily what I watched. Like, yeah, I watched the 80s cartoons that most every other kid in the 80s did. So like, yeah, I would watch like Transformers and like Ninja Turtles, because I would watch them because they were on, like in G.I. Joe, like, but I wasn't like obsessed really, and like I wasn't like, oh, it's that time, gotta watch Transformers, but it was on, so like it was impossible to be of that age at that time and not see that show. But it wasn't what I would be looking forward to every week. That was more Looney Tunes. Like Looney Tunes is what I had tapes and tapes and tapes of. And I was watching cartoons on Nickelodeon. This is pre-Nicktoons. I was watching cartoons on Nickelodeon more frequently than I was like the network Saturday morning cartoon. So I was watching way more stuff like Inspector Gadget and Heathcliff and programs like that. As a kid, I probably watched Heathcliff more than I did Garfield, and I watched Garfield a lot, but Garfield I didn't watch a lot of till I was in like junior high, because Garfield was on in the mornings before I would catch the bus. As a kid, yeah, certainly here and there, but Heathcliff was the shit, man.
Well, let me talk about
Fucking nihilistic Garfield.
Well, now let's talk about my favorite shows I grew up with and see how.
Yes,
how young
absolutely.
I am. See how young I am.
Yeah.
I'm 23, but still.
So nothing.
No.
Let's talk about the shows I grew up with then.
Well, I was just kidding. I was kidding.
Oh.
I guess, yeah, Frasier, Seinfeld. Seinfeld's my favorite show.
Yeah.
Friends is second. I do like SpongeBob and like Hey Arnold. And
Yeah, SpongeBob and Hey Arnold were after I was
just
my
the first
time
or
on
second
Nickelodeon.
season of SpongeBob. I didn't really watch the rest. The first and second, or then it got just bad. The Simpsons.
I've seen it a few times. Oh yeah, The Simpsons definitely. The Simpsons would be in my top 3.
Simpsons. Yeah, we were rewatching them the other, like a few weeks back, and or not a few weeks. Well, we were watching some of the newer ones and. But we were watching like seasons. Which ones? Like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I like season 3 too, but
no, same here.
I would watch those religiously.
Yeah, go God, yeah. When I would get home from school and syndication, I would be watching The Simpsons, and then I would tape it.
So funny.
Yeah. As far as the Nicktoon stuff goes, and I know this got brought up on the last 12-hour stream, because when I was checking some of that earlier today, this is exactly what we were talking about. My cutoff point for like Nickelodeon and Nicktoons, around when I stopped watching Nickelodeon, the most recent Nicktoon was Real Monsters.
Oh, I didn't like that.
Real Monsters,
I didn't
whatever.
like that show.
Yeah, that was like the most recent one, and it was mid-90s.
No, it has to be late.
Late 90s, 95, 96.
I like Rocket Power. Do you remember that show?
No. I know the Rocketeer. Is it the same thing?
It's like a super 90s surfer movie. Or not movie, show. Oh, I like Wild Thornberrys. I like that show.
That was after my time.
Old man.
Just give me Matlock.
Matlock!
I don't watch any of that shit, but I know I'm getting old because there's nothing I look forward to during the week more so than Sunday night sitting here on my recliner with my blanket and watching game shows on primetime ABC, I think. They have the lineup of Family Feud, $100,000 pyramid, and To Tell the Truth.
I like game shows too, and I guess I'm just an old soul, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's why we work so well together. You're an old soul, and I'm just old.
You don't get hard.
Sure.
You are. No one your age. I mean, I don't know the typical person that's like your age that has the energy you do.
Oh, yeah, I guess I have some energy. As I say with the most monotone voice I could possibly say.
Do you want me to show this?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, Hunchback and Notre, I like that movie a lot. Yeah, it's cool. I don't know, I just like the movie a lot. I know Doug likes it a lot.
And you have memorabilia.
Yep, I sure do.
Yes, I certainly do.
I certainly do. Guess I'll just go from top to bottom. This is all stuff.
What do we got here?
So
I've
never played it.
You never actually played it?
No,
Well,
I just like to have it.
The town square game. Let me
I don't know how to play it. I just like to have it. It's just kind of
pop
cool.
this up here. The town square game. It's a race across the cobblestone with Quasimodo and his friends.
His friends.
This doesn't look like my
Don't
kind
they
of game.
tie him up and try to throw tomatoes at him?
Oh, that's the gist of the game. You got to tie up the Quasimodo card in the middle here and then just throw vegetables at it. It's actually a very messy game. Play cards to diagonally move your path across the game board. Some spaces are empty. Others have tiles to guide you. Sometimes landing on a tile will speed your way, but watch out for Frollo. He's bad news.
Oh, wow.
He will rape your card. He'll send you all the way back to where you first started and then sexually assault you.
I love it.
Any board game with a Frollo card. Yes. My kind of game. That's awesome. When did you did you primarily get these around the same time? Or
No, these are from 96.
Well, I know that. I know that. I know they're from when the movie came out, but when you bought a lot of these.
After I discovered because I watched, my parents weren't really into the movie.
Yeah.
Understandably. So I only watched it like once when it was, when it came out. But, I watched it. I was going through this like whole nostalgia thing. I was like, oh, let me rewatch some Disney movies when I was 18. And then I stumbled across this movie again, and I was like, wow, that movie was awesome. And because I just like how bold Disney went with their with choosing a movie like this. I was like, why would you ever do that? And also, they have a whole song about how sexually repressed Frollo is, and I was like, okay, that song's amazing, Hellfire. Would you agree, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because so what did you think after I showed you the movie? Like,
I'd seen the movie.
Well, I know you saw the movie, but like rewatching it, what'd you think?
Well, I mean, it's your favorite movie, so I knew I had to like it. No, I'm kidding.
I wouldn't care.
No, that movie I like a lot, quite a bit. I will say this about the movie, like. It's got one of the best villains in Disney animated movies, and it is a daring film. Like they really go into some places that weren't like that maybe you would have seen in some of the darker Disney movies from earlier around, like, you know, the Pinocchio era and things like that.
This goes
but 96 though, like it. Yeah, it went to some pretty moody and bleak places, but it is the opening scene alone, but it is the definition of a flawed masterpiece.
Yeah. Because
you look at scenes and dialogue and the villain, especially the villain's interaction with the other characters, and you're watching it like this really should objectively be one of the best Disney animated movies.
But then the studio came in and was like...
But then the studio came in and said, hey, you know what character was popular? The genie. Let's put in something like that in this movie, even though it has no fucking place. Aladdin, it makes sense. It makes sense in Aladdin. There's context to that.
The could have made sense, though. Like, he could have. They made it darker. Like, if he was really actually talking to himself and leveling himself to these gargoyles that were not real, but then they jump and they do things like to help get the cathedral all like
the gargoyles, their place within the story makes sense. It's just that how they're portrayed, the humor that they have.
A guy like you, it should just be song. That song should just be called Friend Zoned.
Because like those characters, it's not that they don't have their place in the story, but it's like, okay, I'll put it to you like this. It'd be like if Frollo's being intimidating and creepy, and then for no reason he just farts in the middle of a scene. That's like that. They're like, okay, like all of the modern references and everything that and the humor, the modern meta humor that was put into Aladdin makes sense. That's just the kind of movie that it is. It's primarily a comedy. In Hunchback, you have these dark action scenes where people are dying. Like people are dying. There is fire going up. Like there are like people are just fighting for their lives in the climax of this film. And then it cuts to a shot of a gargoyle shooting at the villains out of his mouth like it's a machine gun. Like it. I'm never mad when I'll say this about the gargoyles. Like I'm never mad when I'm watching them. I'm frustrated because it does make the movie a flawed masterpiece. I'm frustrated when I watch them, but I'm also fascinated when I'm watching them.
It looks like he's trying to get up there.
Yeah.
Sorry. You have to circling around it. So.
Oh, you can do it, buddy. But what was I saying?
Sorry. A masterpiece. He's like, you're not angry at it.
Oh no, I'm more so fascinated when I'm watching them because they are fascinatingly out of place. It's jaw-dropping how much the tone changes whenever they show up.
Right after Hellfire, they do A Friend Like You. Mm-hmm. Like right after it. And it's like, what?
Yeah. It's tonally like, so weird.
He gets like he's rubs her like scarf around his face and is like talking about how sexually repressed he is. And about how he's like, she'll be mine or burn, basically. Mm-hmm. And then he's like conflicted and everything. And
hey, Bubba.
And then Lloyd comes in. And then right after
Hold
that.
Hold the line and cut the cheese. Yeah, thanks, Lloyd. This is a funeral, goddammit.
Right after that, he like Quasimodo is just being sung to by gargoyles, and they do like an Amadeus joke.
Yeah. Oh, right.
And then they have like the statues. They're like.
Yeah. Like, throw in a Parenthood reference. or no, like a reference to the good angel and bad angel on Tom Hulce's shoulder in Animal House.
That'd be so funny.
I don't think you should date rape Esmeralda.
They should do that with Frollo.
The good angel, bad angel. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she'll rape her. She's asleep.
Tone movie. Damn. What else you got?
Trading cards.
Yeah.
I've never really looked at.
Let's go through each one of these individually. Wow, spoiler.
What does it say?
No, nothing. It's, so these are just. It's not a game. It's just.
No, it's just trading cards. They had really high hopes for this movie.
Oh, I mean, certainly, like every movie Disney put out during any time really has a lot of tie-ins like this to go along with it.
Oh, real quick. Oh, I think that's a puzzle on the back.
Oh,
I gotta get my other stuff. The one with John Smith.
Oh, that's a different movie, honey.
I know, but I have to show it.
Let's check. I'll check the IndieGoGo here in a little bit. If you got any kind of question or anything for us, or if you want to promote anything that we're doing, or anything that you're doing, at the $50 level, you can we'll read a message from you on here. At the $100 or more level, we will call you and bring you up here on speaker, so you can ask us a question and then talk to us for a little bit. But okay, what else do you got?
It's gonna be boring. People are probably like,
No.
This is not interesting. It's just a book.
Oh, let me see it.
Well, it's the real book.
First edition Hunchback.
Well, I thought it looked pretty, so I got it.
It is. Where are the songs?
Well, by Victor Hugo.
Mm.
Not by Disney.
Oh, gotcha.
This is the one with the concept art, the art.
Yeah.
People are like, oh god, I'm gonna change the channel. Oh. Sorry, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, this is collection. This is a lot of concept art, you said, for the movie. Mm-hmm. When Frollo was originally a talking giraffe. What if they did? What if they did go the Robin Hood route with this?
With animals?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. Amazing.
What would Quasimodo be?
A camel.
A deformed camel.
Autographed by Quasimodo himself.
This is
a placemat from a restaurant.
No, it's in French.
Mm-hmm.
This is just.
Where'd you get these? eBay? Mm-hmm. Just random auctions.
Just random stuff I'd find. I just like these books are really cool because you get to see how Frollo's depicted, and you're like, how are they going to explain like his sexual frustration
in a golden book? In what is essentially a golden book?
Those
are these golden books? Okay, yeah.
This is a golden book.
This is where that scene where he's got those sweet tan lines over his eyes when he went out snorkeling and just forgot to put his suntan lotion on.
Oh, you saw that coloring book the other day.
Oh yeah, there's a Disney villains coloring book. That's a coloring book?
Yeah. Or watercolor maybe.
Mm-hmm. The special movie version.
Oh, here we go. Doesn't every kid want to color this?
Yeah, I mean you did, right?
No.
Oh, this is
a Marvel comic book.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Well, let's put Quasimodo in the MCU. We can bring Frollo into the MCU. Jeremy Irons doesn't have a Marvel character yet. Get him out of the DC universe.
Here's part 2. Oh wait, I think you can find it.
Oh, so it's the comic book version of Hunchback of Notre Dame too.
Sir, request permission to stop. In a moment, Captain, a lesson needs to be learned here.
It's the comic book version of the movie?
Yeah.
Where's all your memorabilia for Hunchback 2? I mean, you do own the movie.
No, well, the movie... I do own the movie, but then the movie doesn't even say it has the second one in it. It just says, like, Blu-ray special edition. And then when I opened it, like, the second movie just kind of popped out. And I was like, that movie really wanted to be watched.
I've run into that before. It's the same way on my Criminally Insane DVD that doesn't advertise the fact that it's got Crazy Fat Ethel 2 on it. It's just on there as a bonus feature.
It just says, like, it says like it has like special edition or something, and then it just popped out. I was like, oh, okay, thank you. That movie, I've never finished that movie. It's just so bad. I do like.
What if it gets really good at the end?
I think I fast forwarded to the end to see how it ended.
Or it's now taking place in a ghost town because there's no people in it. Oh, pop-up book?
Yep.
It's like it's right here in my living room.
She's such a
nerd. I've got a moment by moment Windy City poster behind me. That is the amazing scene where he just chucked Esmeralda off the cathedral. Mm-hmm.
Figures. I have a lot more books in there, but here's my action figures.
Let's see here.
Oh, I think this is
Frollo, who's only twice as big as the goat in this one. The Burger King figures are what I remember the most. Like when you talked about memorabilia and everything for Hunchback, the first thing that came to my head was the Burger King puppets. The gargoyle Burger King. It wasn't even until I was older. it wasn't until I was older that I realized like that the gargoyles were that heavily despised in this movie. Because when the movie came out, and they were all over a lot of advertising for the movie, especially promoting those Burger King puppets. I think I just thought at the time, like, well, I think they're annoying, but I don't know, maybe kids like them, or maybe these are considered to be relatively humorous characters. It wasn't until some years later I was like, oh no, these are actually pretty critically lambasted characters.
Must be my other.
Oh, the puppets. Well, that's okay. We can't open them anyway. I want to play with them.
Well, I want to leave them in their original packaging.
J. Ram says his mom still has like the Pocahontas drinking cups.
Oh, that. What did you think of that movie?
Somebody, Mrs. Snob says, because we were talking about this too, says that she thought or Mr. Sorry, excuse me, thought that the comic relief in Tarzan was worse than the Hunchback gargoyles.
That's what you say, too, right?
I think that the comic relief in Tarzan annoys me more. It does, honestly.
Rosie O'Donnell. But she's not in it as much as the gargoyles, I think.
I don't think it's as tonally off as the comic relief in Hunchback. Like, the comic, Rosie O'Donnell and a lot of that in Tarzan, it does annoy me more, honestly, but I think it's integrated into the tone of that movie better than what they tried doing with Hunchback. Hunchback feels like a script note. When the gargoyles turn up, that feels like the studio is demanding that this is part of the movie. And to an extent, you can feel that with a lot of comic relief in Disney movies, but in Tarzan, while it annoys me more, while I scoff at it more, I'm not going to go so far as to say it feels as incredibly out of place as the gargoyles' humor in Hunchback. So personally, I would probably take the gargoyles over Rosie O'Donnell because
George or Jason Alexander.
Yeah, only because at least I'm fascinated by that.
Yeah, the fundraiser. You remember that from the trailer? Tarzan.
Oh.
The fundraiser.
Oh, yeah. I even from the trailer of Tarzan, I was like, I'm not going to like that character. Like,
what's her name in it? God.
What was Rosie O'Donnell's name? Turl.
I wasn't as
I was being trained to swing from tree to tree.
I was conquering galaxies before you knew how to spell your name.
Turk.
Okay, so I was right.
No, I was right. It's still Turl.
I'll be right back. I'm trying to find that Frollo figure, and I can't find it.
Is it in the box with the gargoyle puppets?
Probably. I thought I brought it with me.
Yeah. When she comes back, I'll hop on. I've got another laptop set up over here, so I'll pop over there and check out and see if we've gotten like a $50 or $100 donation. If Frollo's in Kingdom Hearts, how about fuck yeah? Somebody in the chat said that they wanted Frollo to be at Kingdom Hearts.
What?
These like art room bins that you have, but just full of nothing but Hunchback stuff.
No, they're not. I have other things.
While you're showing some of that,
no, you're not gonna leave me.
Oh, I'm gonna go to Quick and Easy.
Right now.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm just going right to. Sorry, Quick and Easy is the name of a Yeah, across the street from us.
Oh, I found him.
There he is. I'm just going right here so I can look to see if there's been any $50 donations.
See, Eric? Oh. That'll have to be entertaining.
I will be the voice of God.
I got. Oh, he has his rings and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't every child want to play with this?
Well, you did.
No, I got this a lot, like, before. Or after the movie. Oh, and this is I already showed Brad this, but, so this is it a golden book? It's a book. Frollo meets his match. Every child wants to read that.
The Frollo spin-off book.
Yeah, it has, like, it's Frollo's own story, I guess, like a gypsy, gets his revenge over him, and it's like so stupid. Oh, here we go. Oh, Esmeralda, here we go. This is her. She has like her own like she has her disguise or her like little hood thing that she has. It's from Burger King, so in its original package. Phoebus, and then here's Quasimodo. And it's actually not that bad. Like, they have, like, real, cloth and everything. It's not just plastic.
Let me see that Frollo meets his match. I love the fact that this character has its own spin-off children's book. Frollo meets his match as if he's like a Yosemite Sam type character.
You just need to get engaged.
And given that this is a prequel book, we know he's not going to learn his lesson by the end of it. Chapter 8. Frollo was in a fury. Oh, is that why you tried nibbling on his head?
No, it's just old.
Oh, God, I love so much that this exists.
I don't know that John Smith.
The Caligula spin-off book, Tiberius Meets His Match. So it's a fucking mesh cloth to the face.
I'm trying to find that John Smith thing. You took a picture of it.
Oh yeah,
I found it.
Oh, let me see the Tiger game.
That thing's impossible to play. I have no
Tiger
idea
game. So did you really grow up with a lot of Tiger games?
I did with some.
Yeah, I did. Did a lot of. Do you remember a lot of students having these when you were in school? God, I mean, for me, in the early '90s, we all had these, and we would trade them, and some of them were fine because, like, we would. Yeah, I mean, you would use them the same way you would use like a Game Boy, you know, like you'd take them on trips, or if you got time to kill before class starts, you'd be playing these. We would trade these amongst each other and everything. We would take turns, and whether or not they were any good was just all dependent on if you can instantly figure out how to play it. When you hit start.
Hard.
This is one of those Tiger games where there is nothing self-explanatory about when you start it. You can't really tell if you're winning. You can't tell like
there's a swing, jump, or swing
and slide. You can't tell if you're winning on this thing. You don't know if you're doing bad. You don't know if you're doing good. You just don't know how to fucking play this thing. The one that I had when I was a kid was Donkey Kong Jr. And that was explanatory. Now it was a Tiger game recreation of the like first like Vine level, and the Super Mario Brothers.
The arcade version, it'd be easy to know. When it's based off a movie, it doesn't have like any sort of game that was made before.
Yeah, I mean that's true. Like because the Super Mario Brothers one, one of my grade school friends, Josh Stuckey. He had the Super Mario Brothers one, and that one was pretty fun. I also had like a Starfighter one. It wasn't Galaga, but it was light Galaga. Yeah, some of these were playable, but then there's ones like, because there were so many of these goddamn things based on like arcade games, console games, movies, TV series. There were all sorts of these goddamn things. I mean, they were fucking. Do they still sell these in stores now? Old Tiger games.
I got this from eBay. I don't know.
Right? Was it expensive on eBay?
I probably spent way too much money on this.
It was a Tiger game, so probably. Here's the thing about.
I think it wasn't that expensive. I can't remember. Hunchback isn't too expensive because people don't. There is a fan base for it, but it's not like Aladdin or something like that. Like it does have a cult following, kind of. There are people that are obsessed with this just as much as I am.
Tiger games weren't that expensive when they were in stores. That's why we had so many of them. That's why so many kids had those. Like, oh, good boy, music to my ears. Your alarm sucks. Let me see. Oh yeah, I still can't figure that out.
There.
Yep. And then the cat takes off running. Just like old Tiger games.
The last Hunchback thing
And our gargoyle. Mm-hmm. Our gargoyle Chloe.
And then shut up, this makes no sense whatsoever.
I thought this was Phoebus. Yeah. Here's this, like just boom. Oh.
It's like that doesn't even take place in the movie. What is it?
I said to you, I go, was there a scene in the movie where he was in a rock and came out of it?
I just thought it was so funny. What? It doesn't make sense at all. It's like, what is it? Why is he in a rock?
Also,
why is he hiding?
This feels like it could very quickly be used as a sex toy.
Oh. I know people that are not have a crush on John Smith. I kind of do. I think he's kind of sexy. Well, I like the voice of Mel Gibson at least.
Sure, yeah. That's ridiculous. Where is that from? Is that from Burger King?
Yep, Burger King.
Yeah, that's not surprising. If it was a McDonald's toy, it'd probably transform into something.
Unless there's anything in here.
Okay, what I'm going to do right now is just to kind of test to see how well this works, I'm going to play a video. I kind of had to reteach myself how to use this software because I've used this before, but that was when we did the fundraising for Jesus Bro, so that was 2 years ago.
Wow.
So yeah. We did do one during the making of Jesus Bro, just like a really quick, brief fundraiser for some like post-production stuff. But we were using Nash's computer because this was done on the day that Nash filmed his scene in Jesus Bro, and thank God he was there too, because that slow ass processor laptop of mine over there wasn't handling any kind of fucking live stream. So, all right, I'm going to play the, 2-minute IndieGoGo video that Eduardo and I did, just to kind of make sure, if anything, just to make sure I did this right. So, okay, I'll be playing this, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
And that's what I think of the 1959 movie The Wasp Woman. It's not very good. I seem to be getting a phone call. Who could be calling me at this hour?
Snob, it's Steve.
Steve? Who the fuck is Steve?
Steve Gudenstein, your agent. I was in your Heaven's Gate video.
Oh, right. I do remember that.
You just upset the entire Wasp Woman community. This is absolutely terrible PR.
What? But I haven't even released the video yet!
Doesn't matter! The internet works fast now. We need a project that's going to bring people back. Be it Swasp people, bee people, cat people, and maybe even Junebug people.
You want me to do a sequel to the Snob movie, don't you?
I definitely want you to do a sequel to the Snob movie.
Are you just upset that you weren't in the first film?
It would have been perfect! I can take a cell phone to the eye like a champion.
Hey, yeah, okay. Do you have any ideas for the sequel?
I've got plenty of scripts submitted to me by my interns. We have Cinema Snob in space. The world will end unless Cinema Snob reviews the long-lost E.T. porno.
Pass? Doesn't even make sense. I've reviewed all the E.T. pornos. I think.
Okay. We have more. Cinema Snob goes to camp. Snob becomes a camp counselor and leads a ragtag team of chots in a roller derby competition.
No one would hire me as a camp counselor. The only way I do that film is if it were a shot-for-shot remake of Ernest Goes to Camp, with a little summer camp nightmare thrown in there.
How about a swap? The fourth wall. Days before Linkara's wedding, you both wish to switch places when Fat Grandma gives Linkara a tiki idol as a wedding gift.
You're getting warmer, but I think Linkara is still stuck at my old place.
I'm the one who keeps hanging these posters up.
Okay. I think you're gonna like this one. Another Cinema Snob movie. After the Craig Golightly's latest movie bombs, he sets out on a cross-country trip to see his father. And along the way, runs into problems with a cult of clowns and a house of cannibals.
That's the last script you have, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, I'll do it. And you want to be in it too, don't you?
It already has my character in the script.
Yeah, okay, I'm sure that's a coincidence. Another Cinema Snob movie coming soon.
Miss Chloe.
Hey, so it seemed like that worked out fine. Excellent. And that was Yael Gutierrez playing Steve the agent in that clip. That's the same character that he played in one of the Heaven's Gate episodes. I think it was the second part of the Heaven's Gate episodes, and we'll be showing those again later on. And he's in the sequel to the Snob movie and he plays that same character too. And he's always been really super great to us over the years. Like he'll write and we'll shoot the shit with each other. And he did something really cool one time. He was working red carpet at I want to say it was maybe the premiere for that second Ninja Turtles movie that came out. And Tyler Perry was there, and he got Tyler Perry to do like a shout out to us.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's at the beginning of a Snob episode. Maybe the 10-inch Mutant Ninja Turtles one. I can't remember. One of the Snob episodes. That clip is at the very beginning of it.
Cool.
But he's always been super great to us over the years. He's always given us shout outs, and so. We haven't really done much in the way of casting on this movie yet, because a lot of that is going to come down to how much the fundraising brings in. So in writing the script, there are certainly actors that I've got in mind for it, and I'm writing it in their voice, but it really is gonna come down to what the budget is on this movie. But as far as he goes, Eduardo plays Steve the agent. Him, I did write to and was like, I wrote in Steve the agent in this movie. Would you be interested in playing the part? And like right away, he wrote back and was like super excited to do it. And even in doing the IndieGoGo campaign video, that was actually kind of a last minute way to do that video. The original idea for the IndieGoGo video was there were going to be scenes from the movie, well, not whole scenes, just like really small clips that were going to be animated, just like quick shots, like two cars racing, or like a clown chasing someone, or a cannibal chasing someone. So like it just really quick clips like that. But it wouldn't have been done in the time we needed this campaign to launch. So I wrote the whole back and forth with me and Eduardo. I wrote that like kind of last minute. I wrote to him and said, hey, I've got kind of a last minute idea for this IndieGoGo video. Would you be down for it? And again, right away, he wrote back, and this was like during the World Cup. And he's like, yeah, I could do it in a couple of days. I'm a little hungover right now. I'm like, dude, totally, I understand. It's not launching for like another week. Yeah, he was more than happy to do it. And he did like he was really animated in the video, and like he put in a lot of different angles, and really brings a lot of life to that character. But that character will be in the movie as well. And then, since I mentioned Wasp Woman at the beginning of that, I was like, okay, in a couple weeks I'll do a Snob on the Wasp Woman, and then just attach this at the end. You can tell that was shot way earlier than the rest of the Wasp Woman review, because it's not storming outside. Yeah, I kind of improv'd a lot of that in that Snob episode. But what this movie is about, I should probably get into that. What this movie, what?
Oh, I thought you saw something at the comment.
No.
Sorry.
What the sequel to the Snob movie is about is that it is years after the first one, and the character of Craig from the first movie has been doing the Snob as a series for a lot of years, whereas in the first one, he didn't have a YouTube series or anything like that. It was just, he was an exploitation movie writer, and him, along with his business partner, are trying to get a movie made, so he kind of has to become this character in order to get like permits for this movie, and then it turns into like a giallo mystery. In this one, he's been doing the YouTube series for a while, and then is releasing a movie. Him and a director are releasing a movie, and then it comes out, and it's like a total laughing stock, and it flops, and they kind of think their careers are dead as far as movies are concerned. So the agent that you saw in that video, like, suggests that they start doing conventions and to try to maybe promote the movie that way. And so they start doing some conventions. Craig and the director of the movie, who's a character named Marcus, who's he's just kind of gone through a controversy and is like sort of a heavy drinker. Mm-hmm. And they end up talking about how one person that kind of could get him out of this jam is Craig's dad, who's this like TV executive from the 70s. And they meet a couple of other YouTubers there, both fictitious characters. One is like sort of an up and coming YouTuber who's this female character who's like a musical vlogger. Another is like a Twitch gamer. Mm-hmm. Who's gone through a controversy because he went on like a whole like rant against circus freaks. So they're all at various points in their career, and they think that Craig actually is the cinema snob, and that he is that personality in real life. So he sort of has to be that personality for a little bit. And they end up getting drunk, and then they hit the road together to go across country. And like the first movie, it sort of turns into an exploitation movie as it goes along. Like it turns into like a 70s road movie, like something like 2 Lane Blacktop, or like Vanishing Point, and then also like things like Tourist Trap, or like 70s exploitation cannibal movies. And then at one point they happen upon this clown museum where they're under mind control and things like that. So it sort of is turning into like a 70s horror movie as it goes along. And awesome. Yeah, I hope it gets made because it's an all or nothing campaign, whereas with Jesus Bro, it was a flexible campaign we were asking for 50, but it was flexible. Like no matter where it ended up, we would have gotten that budget. We would have had to have made drastic cuts to Jesus Bro, and honestly, yeah, we would have had to have done more fundraising. Like let's say Jesus Bro brought in $30,000, we would have had to have made drastic cuts to that script. And honestly, we probably would have had to have done like another big fundraising thing for it. So for this one, the movie couldn't get made. For this movie, the sequel to the Snob movie, it couldn't get made for under 50. So if it brought in under 50 and it was a flexible campaign, I don't know what the whole movie would probably have to be rewritten. Like it would be a drastically different movie, and it would suffer because of that. So it is right to do this as a fixed price because we want it to be a good product. And also like there's a lot of people who do prefer like a fixed goal because it does create a sense of urgency. Like either this gets brought in or nothing's going to happen. So it does create urgency there. Whereas if it's a flexible one, it's like, well, I could donate, but hey, it's going to get made anyway.
I wish I could see that.
I thought you were being philosophical. Like I wish I could see into the future about what this movie would be like.
I can't see that far, so.
So yeah, we got 11 hours left. It's 11:12 in the morning. You all right, honey?
Yeah.
It's all right. Gino will be here about 45 minutes.
Oh,
I think.
Good.
Let me look up.
God.
Unless I get a message from him.
Did you want to? Oh.
Unless I get a message from him that's like, "Hey, sorry, I can't make it."
Oh, I'm sure he'll come. Show them that hot sauce that I might make.
I'm kidding. So yeah, we'll be doing different stuff throughout the day.
I was gonna say when Gino gets here, or maybe a little bit later.
Yeah.
But,
we got different stuff we're going to be doing throughout the day. Gino will be getting here, and Gino and I will shoot those.
pineapple pizza fan.
I
love pineapple pizza.
Which David Cronenberg movie is my favorite? Cronenberg movie is my favorite. God, Scanners is fucking good.
Wait, what? I know
The $50 person. If you're going to donate $50, it'll help us out a lot. I mean, thank you for one. Thanks for the donation.
The conversation.
But it helps us out more if you donate it to the IndieGoGo as opposed to the super chat. Like the super chat, yeah, I can transfer the funds to the IndieGoGo. Certainly, I can do that. But the way that payments are with YouTube, it's like I think we get paid from what the ad revenue was 2 months prior or something like that. So by the time, I can transfer these funds, but by the time that any ad revenue, super chat, anything like that anytime we get paid for that, it's going to be like a month after fundraising on this ends. So preferably, yeah, donate to our IndieGoGo campaign. The link is there in the description. But yeah, favorite Cronenberg movie, Scanners is so fucking good. The Fly. You would like Crash with James Spader. You would like Crash with James Spader. That's a fucked up Corona. It's about people who get turned on by car crashes. It's an NC-17. That movie's rough. Not the Oscar.
Yeah,
Crash.
I was thinking about that.
Not that.
I was like,
this is the better Crash. No.
I've never seen it.
Shivers, the one that's like a zombie movie, only if they were just going around wanting to fuck people.
I know that name though.
You would like that. David Cronenberg. I mean, he did The Fly.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
The
Goldblum one.
Okay.
So when Gino gets here, and one thing you'll try doing later, I have these hot sauces that are Golden Girls. They're Golden Girls themed, and there is a recipe on the back for a cheesecake, as this one's called, the hot slut cheesecake. Just read the ingredients.
Well, not the whole. I mean, like it's like just 1 tablespoon, but maybe I can like go crazy with it.
Yeah.
I was gonna get ingredients and then cook it.
Get to the kitchen.
I was gonna like maybe get some of the ingredients I'd ask.
The habanero hot. So we did something like this one time. So yeah, we'll try it on here as well. The spicy habanero hot sauce, hot slut cheesecake. There was an 80s Dan that we did. I think it was one of the Christmas ones where we took like the side plot was that Brian's character and Rob the Robot were like making Christmas cookies, and they put hot sauce in it, and it was like Ass Reaper hot sauce, and we put it in the dough and or Sarah did, I believe, and made cookies out of it, and they were like tinted red cookies, and we tried it.
Was it good?
It was so weird because like it tasted like a chocolate chip cookie, only if it was fucking spicy. So I remember we had a plate of these just sitting on the table, and I think it was Jared. I think Jared walked in and just saw these cookies on the table and was just like ooh, and because no one fucking expects like, oh, clearly a plate full of cookies. I don't know. I should ask first. Is this going to be spicy or is it mild?
My dad, when like at PetSmart or something, they'll have like little cookies that look for dogs that look really realistically.
Oh yeah.
They look delicious.
Yeah. So
my dad, he put them out for his for Ella, my sister, my older sister. He put them out there and like was like testing to see, because she eats everything. So
yeah,
he was testing to see like if she would actually like eat them, because they do look like people food.
Yeah,
she did, and then she was like, "These cookies are super stale."
These cookies are making me thirsty.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
Once it gets to about 11:30, so in 15 minutes, I'll put up part 1 of the Heaven's Gate Snob episode. I'll go to my laptop over there, and if you've donated anything from $50 or above to IndieGoGo, you'll be in about 15 minutes. You'll be getting an email from me. I'll be asking either what your message is for us to read on here, or your contact information as well, so we can actually bring you up, so you can talk to us live on here. So be expecting that in about 15 minutes. I probably should have put more Snob episodes on here, but I got a few queued up. I've got all 3 of the Heaven's Gate ones, because the Heaven's Gate episodes have us all in it, and it's got the Steve agent character in them as well, so it kind of ties into the movie. I got the Let There Be Light episode, because that kind of ties into this, because it was the last big movie that we did, or not Let There Be Light, but Let There Be Light was basically, it was Jesus Bro, but totes real.
Do you want to show them mustard?
Oh yeah, and we'll be doing these during the day too. I was one of the last cons I was at, Columbus. It was in Columbus. They had a Rocket Fizz there, so I got a few more things, and we can do these. We can do these live on here. I've got mustard flavored soda, which that's what they put as the thumbnail when I did like a 1.5-minute video announcing this live stream, and I held these up, and the go-to thumbnail was me holding this up. I was like, well, that makes this look like a Brad tries, but I was like, well, I do hold it up in the video, and if someone sees me holding this up on the thumbnail, they'll be more inclined to click on it. So I'm like, no, now maybe more people will click on it. It's clickbaity, but like now more people will click on it and know that we're doing this live stream. So like, yeah, whatever.
Well, I'm gonna try it too, right?
The mustard soda? Yeah, totally.
Sodas. So it's gonna be a Brad and Laura tries.
And there's butter soda. We got.
My sister did.
She did, but we lost it in the move. But they had this at. They had this at.
You sure? I thought that's the same one.
It's not. I bought this in Columbus. I mean, it's the same. It's yeah.
I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
We got pickle flavored soda because of fucking course this shit exists.
I like pickles, but I don't want a pickle soda.
And then old fashioned peanut butter soda.
That sounds like that might be okay.
Yeah, this one will actually probably be pretty good. All right.
The other ones sound like they'll either be really salty, I guess.
So you didn't like the pickle slushy.
Well, when you gave it to me, it was not even a slushy. It was just salt water at that point because it was so hot outside. And I was like, okay. I took a sip and it was just basically salt water.
Yeah, you liked it less than I did, and I didn't care that much for it, but it was so hot in that fucking car where I was like, God damn, I don't like pickle flavored shit, but it's so fucking hot in here that I'm like, this is refreshing.
I remember you also bringing me that stupid craze that was going on, that unicorn.
I knew you were going to say that. The unicorn frappuccino. Unicorn. Did I like that? I think I did. I think I just thought it was...
I think you thought it was okay.
Yeah, I think I just thought it was just really sugar, because I had like a big fucking sugar rush, like after taking 2 sips of that thing.
You gave it to me. I think that was last summer, I want to say, because it was kind of melted by the time you gave it to me.
Oh, yeah.
And then I drank it, and I was like, ugh, this is just like a cavity in a cup. It was basically what it was.
Yeah, it is.
It's
the perfect reminder that I need to get my back tooth fixed.
Yeah, I need to get my... I need to see the dentist, too. It keeps... Yeah, it was like a cavity in a cup. It was so gross. It was just too sugary. I like some sweets, but I'm more into pastries and stuff.
Are you gonna do you think you're gonna get some like shelving or something to like hang up a lot of your Hunchback stuff?
Oh, I don't know where I'm gonna put it. I think I'll put it in the game room. I don't know if I'll display. I won't display.
That is my room.
The game room is our room. You have your own room.
My room. No, it's fine.
You have your own room, and you have a bigger closet. Oh, we have a shared room, but
I think it would be appropriate if Frollo was in the closet.
No, well, I didn't want to make it seem like we have separate bedrooms. We have a real bedroom together. It's just, he has his work room, and we have a game room.
When I get much older and much gassier, you'll insist that
I know couples that do that. They like
my
someone that snores, like out of the couple, and then they're like, I can't. We're just no. So they just kind of sleep in different places. I don't know if I want to do that, but maybe when I'm married with you for like, I don't know,
give it some time, honey.
20 years later, I'd be like, okay, maybe that makes sense.
Let's kick this old fart out of here.
Well, when you start, I'll put you in an old folks' home.
Make room for the pool boy. And I just snore like when I'm sick.
You don't really. You only snore, when you're sick, and I have to like kind of. That looked bad.
When you have to fist me?
When you have to...
All right, I'll stop.
Let's lube it up. Ew.
That's
I have to
be like a dummy to just reach up there, turn off the snoring mechanism.
Stop it. No, I have to kind of nudge you a bit and be like, that's only when you're sick.
Yeah, I used to. When I was a kid, I snored a lot more, but then when I got my tonsils out, I didn't. My grandpa was a heavy snorer to the point to where, he and my grandma slept in separate rooms because of that.
When I was a kid, whenever I had nightmares, I would go with my parents in their bedroom, and my dad was both my parents were huge snorers. I was like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, so that's why after when I was 5, like when I got to the age of 6, I just couldn't sleep with them anymore because they're just so heavy snores.
Brian, sounds like he's gargling chainsaws.
That's
It's ridiculous. Back when we all used to do cons together, because now it's just a couple of us at a time, but like when we used to all do cons together, it was like a race to try to get to sleep before Brian.
Yeah, I remember you telling me
like
about this.
it was, and we would always lose that race because Brian can fall asleep just sitting up watching TV. Like there'd be times we'd be hanging out over there, and Brian would just be sitting at his computer chair watching whatever movie we were watching, and he could just his head would be leaned back and be asleep. Like
that's the issue. His head's leaned back.
Oh no!
That causes. I think it does causes.
Well, that's just. I don't mean he was snoring then. I just mean that that's how easy he can fall asleep.
Sorry.
So if you're racing Brian to fall asleep, you're gonna lose because he can just fall asleep like that. So he would be just there. We would have to grab cotton and put in our ears. I can't fall asleep with a loud snore
impossible.
there.
For me, at least, it takes me a while to fall asleep. So
yeah. Eventually, I would somehow fall asleep. And this would be during a con too, so then I'd have to work the next day at the convention, at the table and everything, and just be on a severe lack of sleep because of Brian's snoring. God damn it! And when we were doing disco. We were all sharing the same room, and Lewis said to me, just so you know, I'm a heavy snorer, so I might keep you awake.
I don't remember hearing.
He said that. You guys might have been at dinner, but he said that to me, and I was thinking oh fuck. But no, when we fell asleep, he snored a little, but it wasn't loud enough to wake me up. It wasn't loud enough to Yeah, oh yeah, certainly. But I'm comparing it to Brian, which is comparing just a fender bender to the last act of the Blues Brothers, just a mass car pileup. So Lewis was nothing compared to Brian's snoring. So I slept fine when we were doing disco. We had a question in there ask what are the different locations. We haven't done location scouting yet. Locations for the sequel to the Snob movie. We haven't done location scouting yet. So we haven't done any location scouting yet because again, we haven't gotten the budget right now. Where a lot of that is gonna casting and location scouting is gonna come into play when the fundraising is over. So the way that it is in the script, other than it being on a lot of country roads, we would need to shoot at some hotels because of some places the characters are staying. We would need to shoot. We would need to do kind of a mock-up table for them being at a convention. We would need to shoot in a farmhouse. We'd have to shoot in a club because there's one part where there's a stand-up comedy club. We would need to shoot somewhere where we could make it look like a clown museum. That's Ryan territory right there. But no, as far as cameos go, as far as casting, again, we just haven't done a lot of that yet because we don't know right now what availability is going to be like for some people. We don't know what we'll have in our budget to offer some people. Our stretch goal for this movie, our stretch goal is $75,000. We can make the movie for 50, but for 75, we would just like to we have dream casting for certain people. I have a dream casting choice who's my number one choice to play the Snob's dad. And that'll come down to two things. It'll come down to availability, because it could be that we have the budget for it, but it'll just be an availability thing. What this person's asking price is, if that can be part of the casting. Yeah, casting is just going to come way later to answer that question right there from the letter 10. Casting is just going to come later on down the road. All right, it's let me look at those are all good guesses, Movie Squad, on my Dreamcast for the Snob's dad. But there's one person that you've listed on there that I would like to get for this, not as the Snob's dad, but there's one where I'm like, I would like to get that person. So okay, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and play a video right now. I'm gonna play part one. I'm gonna play part one of the Heaven's Gate Cinema Snob episode, and then I'm gonna go to the computer here. So if you've donated 50 or above on our IndieGoGo, you'll be getting an email from me here in a second, and just write back whatever your message is that we can read, anything you want to promote, anything you want to ask us, or at the $100 plus level, just give me your contact information so we can ring you up and bring you up on here so we can talk to you for a little bit. So, all right, let me go ahead and pull up the part one of the Heaven's Gate episode.
Well, here we are. We've made it to episode 300. I said we've made it to episode 300, where we'll be talking about Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate. I'm sorry, I figured maybe someone would try to call. Maybe someone could cut in dressed as Sam Waterston's character and call me a dirty immigrant. Or Ed could come in a toga and complain that he's several years late for a Caligula cameo. Or maybe Neil could walk in and we can have a 10-minute conversation about the movie's rape scene. Hey Neil? Well, what the fuck? Have you got anything? Sorry, bro. Been auditioning new bros all afternoon. I got it narrowed down to a fuck, marry, kill question on Entourage, Axe body spray, and Journey's Don't Stop Believin'. I don't know what that means. Well, fuck it. I guess I just gotta talk about the movie. Fucking lame. Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate, one of the most notorious cinematic bombs in movie history. A movie that went so over budget and nosedived so hard with critics and audiences that not only did it cause a devastating blow to United Artists Pictures, but helped usher in the end of the new Hollywood era, taking creative control away from the film's directors and put back into the hands of producers. With a reputation like that, you'd figure I'd be the latest in many, many shows to do an episode on this movie. But not exactly, since its reputation with critics isn't so much that it's what the fuck Hollywood, but more so what the Hollywood. Huh? Fuck, I think it's like 3 days later, or in other words, 20.5 Heaven's Gates. Heaven's Gate was a dream project from writer-director Michael Cimino, who shot the script around in the early 70s under the title of Johnson County War, a story of the dispute between land barons and European immigrants in Wyoming. Exciting. It wasn't until Cimino scored 2 hits with Thunderbolt and Lightfoot, and more notably The Deer Hunter, which won Oscars for Best Picture and Best Director, that Cimino was given a $12 million budget and carte blanche to do whatever he wanted on his next project. And that project was the Johnson County War, renamed Heaven's Gate, and the budget skyrocketed due to Cimino's obsessive attention to detail, catastrophic running times, unusable footage, and endless retakes that would cause the crew to nickname Cimino the Ayatollah. Hell, some of the actors had so much downtime that John Hurt filmed The Elephant Man during filming Heaven's Gate. What? But he made The Deer Hunter! I can't imagine someone who made the wedding scene in that movie would ever direct something that's overlong. So let's take a look at this film. Partisan Productions? I don't need this movie slamming its political agenda about proper cattle gutting down my throat. And I'm not interested in LTD either. I don't do hallucinogens. Okay, I don't need to sit through all of this. Let's skip ahead a few minutes. God damn! Was the movie's budget $1 million a credit? Congratulations, Heaven's Gate. You are the reason why movies rarely do opening credit sequences anymore. Everything is your fault! Now let's have our first look at this incredibly bleak and post-apocalyptic scenery. They've exchanged David Lean for Joe D'Amato. What is this, The Day After? Oh wait, it's a parade. Sorry, I get those confused. We open at Harvard College, the one in Cambridge, Massachusetts, not to be confused with the one in Auburn, Illinois. Oh god, I'm late! So late! This was the worst morning to have the power shits! He better hurry, he's missing the running of the Ebenezer Scrooges. This was a time when men were men and women were locked in study hall. Oh no, we're late too, bros! As you can see, this is a graduation ceremony for our lead character, Jim Averill, played by Chris Christopherson. God damn it, we should have built more than one door for this. I'm feeling a little claustrophobic over here. I'm happy that Jim has finally graduated college. After all, he and his buddy Billy, played by John Hurt, are so not in their 20s. Chris Christopherson with beard, 43 years old. Chris Christopherson without beard, 42. These graduates are a bunch of jokesters. They're pretending to put hats on the people in front of them when they clearly should have thrown them in the air earlier. Ugh, even the audience is already falling asleep. And who let them out of study hall? This speech had better hold my attention.
To all habits of thought and meditation, it doubly behooves us.
Well, if you don't get it, then I am not gonna tell you. I am, after all, a Harvard man, in that I've seen the movie Harvard Man. We're now given a speech from Billy, who was the class orator, and it was a very interesting casting choice to hire John Hurt to play Martin Short. Maybe this speech is better.
There is a story told by an ancient author of a young man who, being noticed by his friend to look dejected...
I don't know anything about that. This is an anniversary episode. Why isn't someone getting fisted?
I have existed from the morning of the world, and I shall exist until the last star falls from the night.
There, that's better. Especially since John Hurt once played Caligula. No, don't throw out the pages of the script. It's gonna cost another $10 million just to pick them up again. Oh, and forgive them when they said Harvard. What they meant was that this is clearly Oxford! During a time when it was not only okay to walk on the grass, but dance on it too. Just kidding. This is just like Oxford today as well. This scene is taking place in 2013. I always heard you get electric shocks if you walk on the grass, which is maybe why Billy looks like he's got 1,000 volts running through him when he dances. You gotta give him credit for having their graduation the same time as the debutante's ball. Oh, good. Is Jim finally gonna say something?
God, you're beautiful.
So are you.
Yes, out of everyone here, you are easily the one who can buy liquor. This scene sums up a lot of criticisms about the movie. This is all very well shot, well choreographed, beautiful music, beautiful scenery. Not sure why it's happening and why it's taking so long. But again, I am getting a CinemaScope boner just by looking at it. We're free! We're free! No more hazing! No more golden chalices up the ass! We're still here! Help! Help! Someone please send help! And now the band goes back into the garage to wait for the next graduation. Say, it's that time-honored tradition of playing Ring Around the Rosie and getting into one giant man pile. It was a tradition that continued into the last act of The Italian Stallion. They're all fighting for John Hurt's coveted role in Crystal Skull. Gentlemen, please, you're all gonna lose. You'll know you've graduated Harvard when you're drunk and someone's beat the shit out of you. The fuck kind of graduation is this? Oh, was it all just a dream? Oh, never mind. It's Wyoming, 20 years later. I sure hope someone has let the girls out of the study hall by now. Riding coach was so terrible back then that people had to sleep on top of the train. That's really gonna hurt when Jason Statham has to drive a car on top of it. Whoops, that's on fire. Another 10 million. I see they're slaughtering the movie before the critics do. I gotta admit though, I can't be mad when I'm being stared at by such gorgeous landscape. Jesus! That never happened in The Quiet Man. John Wayne would have called that un-American. Well shit, he's gotten blood all over the blood. I don't know who those people were, but I do know that one of them is now dead, and the other one is very sad about it. I hear Cimino lost a whole day's work due to yelling at a cloud for not sitting perfectly in the sky. Wow, the parade sure has fallen on hard times. Maybe they could apply at Oxford, which is located in Massachusetts. These are all European immigrants, and I imagine that those who are walking are silently cursing those who are riding. We're not part of this group, we just have a bad habit of being followers. The last people we tried following got lost in the Sierra Nevadas. We have now arrived at Casper, Wyoming. I bet it's a ghost town. With all the money that is obviously on screen here, there is no excuse for Christopherson to be out of booze or to have shoes that don't fit. What's he doing here anyway?
What are you doing out here then in this part of the world?
Brought an immigrant woman in for hanging. Federal penitentiary, St. Louis.
Okay, so I understood none of that, but thanks to this minute-long shot, I now know what walking is. I'm not sure I like the adventures of Indiana Jones's hippie uncle. Jim Averill has currently left his life of luxury behind and is now a marshal of Johnson County and just happens to be passing through Casper. Just think, at this point during The Deer Hunter, the wedding scene was almost halfway over. I'm worried about you, Richard Masser. Last time I saw you in a 3-hour movie, you slit your wrists halfway through.
I'm a human being, ain't I? I'm not ashamed of it. I tell you, Jim, I got so I can't stand this job already.
I'm thinking about becoming president of the Screen Actors Guild. No one gives Cimino enough credit for putting in even more drop-dead gorgeous exterior shots to distract us that not much has happened yet. As if you already couldn't see the money on screen, Cimino would go on to tear down whole buildings if they were too close together. I'm thinking some excitement might happen in this room. This is where they're holding the Django auditions. You can't shoot anyone with that! Ooh, looks like something exciting's going on outside. Better check on that after getting my complimentary gun and booze.
Can't believe you fixed your mouth to say that, boy.
Well, at least the booze is okay. There's still 3 hours of this movie left. Bring out your sleepy! Bring out your sleepy! I'm thinking they now need another $5 million to give this statue a head top. Here we see a board meeting from the association run by Frank Canton, played by Sam Waterston.
These immigrants only pretend to be farmers. But we know many of them personally to be thieves and anarchists openly preying on our ranges.
Dude, Jack McCoy's ancestor was a dick. But to be fair, so's the audience.
They're an ignorant, degraded gang of paupers.
Their only stock in trade consists of having large numbers of ragged kids.
Well, that's easy. Just give them condoms. Don't kill them. That would be immoral, though. So instead, they put 125 immigrants' names on a death list, and the only one who has a problem with it is Billy, seen here looking a whole 5 years older since his graduation. And since when have we ever had a problem with immigrants, especially in the 1800s? The vote for the death list appears to be a landslide.
Stratton.
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Okay, I don't actually need to see the vote happen. I take it they're going to approve the death list, otherwise this would be a very short movie, which I know for damn sure it isn't.
Steele.
Yes. Jim pops up at the club, and from what I know about pool, this scene is going to end with one of their fingers being chopped off.
Does anybody else know that you're here?
Just you.
That and the guy I spent 20 minutes with, the people in the gun shop, and 1,000 extras. Doesn't matter, Billy's 3 wins to the shit at this point anyway.
One half of my drunkenness can be accounted for by the fact that this building is so poorly ventilated.
So that's why Cimino tore the building down and then rebuilt it. I would say that John Hurt shouldn't have said that out loud, but Cimino wrote the damn line. Billy tells Jim of the list of immigrants to be killed, but more importantly, dude, you're messing with his pool game. That'll be 3 fingers.
That was a good day of death listing, gentlemen. oh my God, it's Chris Christopherson.
But unless you got a signed legal warrant for every name on that death list, stay out of my county.
Did we offend him? Do you think he'll still sign my Jesus Was a Capricorn album? I have a feeling awkwardness is afoot. I'm now 50 minutes into this movie, and one of the highlights is a slap fight. I don't know why I'm angry. That was kind of awesome. In the next scene... Anyway, not even a bloodied up corpse can take away from the beauty of these shots. I believe we call this the Sergio Leone angle. The prettiness of the sky looking down on the ugliness of mankind.
Well, I've just seen a dead body today.
What we've learned so far is that the earliest inventions of the rickshaw weren't very practical. Well, hey, now that's a line that was sorely missing from theaters showing Heaven's Gate. Though I'm not sure that that's the safest place to stand. Canton has rounded up a group of degenerates to hire in order to carry out his death list. And who would say no to this offer?
We are employing on the basis of $5 a day plus expenses, and $50 for every thief and anarchist shot or hung.
Yet another instance of things going severely over budget. Isn't anyone gonna ask any questions?
Who's paying him, mister?
You don't worry about that.
Who's paying?
I'm paid.
Well, you sure stood your ground on that one. Since you all blocked the train from getting through, I guess I'll walk home. The lead enforcer to carry out this list is Nate Champion, played by Christopher Walken, another example of the movie using real names for fictitious characters. The real Jim Averill was a rancher who lived 100 miles from Johnson County and was murdered years before the Johnson County War began, and Nate Champion was also a small-time rancher and not a deadly enforcer. But one thing is for sure about Walken's character.
He's a kid. A married man.
Get out of here before I blow your brains out, married man.
He is easily the best character in this movie, which is a surprise to no one. We're now in Sweetwater, Johnson County, as if we couldn't tell from the sign that already says Sweetwater. Okay, when I ordered my food rare, I didn't mean this rare. This scene is just here for the tie-in big cock toy line for the movie. Here we have the first of the movie's many problems with animal cruelty, making the American Humane Association among the first to give the movie terrible reviews. And in terms of my show, it's just making me think that Amazon cannibals are about to show up. Jeff Bridges plays entrepreneur... John Bridges? Really? Okay. Here he is having a drink with Kurt Christopherson, who talks more about the problem.
There's 125 names on a death list.
My God. That's almost everybody in the county.
That might be an under-exaggeration. Every other shot in this movie has at least 1,000 people. The drink binge is interrupted by another cockfight, this time involving humans.
He come to me and my wife, and he using very bad word before wife, and he never stop listen what I have to say.
How is this movie so damn hard to edit down? Hey, this is a private residence, man. Now for a tour of Cinematography County, Wyoming. Here Averill meets up with his love interest, Ella Watson, a Wyoming bordello owner, and you can tell by her accent.
You eat the pie first. It took me a whole day to make it for you, so you eat all of it.
The casting of the very French Isabelle Huppert was one of the many points of debate between Cimino and the studio, but Cimino won out in the end because, you know, Deer Hunter, Oscars. In the end, though, as long as they both have fantastic chemistry, I'm sure the casting is fine.
Great.
Oh boy, that was intense. They should slow down a little bit. That's the opposite of slowing down. This better be some passionate lovemaking. All the sexiness of practice kissing behind a barn. Hell, they don't even have sex. They go right outside so Jim can give her present. A horse. You know your penis is gonna look quite small in comparison, right? Plus, you're gonna wake up the prostitutes.
What the fuck is going on?
I'll tell you exactly what's going on. This is my 300th episode, and so far there's been no skits, no cameos, and all I've done is just talk about a movie. Yuck. This needs to be bigger, better, higher budgeted, more surprise appearances. Way ahead of you, bro. Check out the newest, bro.
So, I fuck Axe body spray so I could marry the cast of Entourage and fucking kill it at the reception with Don't Stop Believing.
New chick bro is hot, bro. Oh, wow, that's just great. I'm gonna take some time out of this episode to have a good long talk with my manager. We'll continue on with our 3-part look at Heaven's Gate next time. Though probably not on the next episode. I think I'm gonna be talking about a dinosaur movie or something.
There we go, the sound's on. We're back on.
Oh, sorry.
So if you could stop being racist. Anyway, Laura, my God!
It's like you traded Princess Leia for Jabba the Hutt.
You know, now that I'm looking at this... I will always be Salacious Crumb in this scenario. Okay, so I sent an email to people who donated $50 and above to our IndieGoGo. So go ahead and check. If you did that, go ahead and check your email and make sure it didn't go to like spam, because that can happen. Check if you don't see it, check your spam folder. So we did that. I'll pop those up here in a second. And you showed up like when I was over there getting email addresses when the video was playing, and you said you were listening in the car, and I had said like, oh, watch, I'll get a message from Gino saying you can't make it. And then you did send me a text. Hey man, sorry, can't make it. Just kidding. I just didn't see it. My phone's like right fucking there. I just didn't see it go off. Anyway, how was your trip?
Oh, it was from Decatur to Springfield. Just
Yeah.
Just a long interstate drive.
When I was in Decatur, I've been in Decatur probably like 6 times this past month because of the bus trips to all the conventions I was doing in June, and most of them, one of the stops was in Decatur. And this last time I was going through there, coming back from Columbus, I think, I saw that you guys have a K's merchandise mart.
Well, we used to.
Isn't it not still open?
No, it hasn't been open for years. In that building, there, a long time ago, it was a venture.
Dude, yeah, we had a venture. Yeah.
It was a venture, and then the venture closed because I used to go to that shopping center all the time because my bar was there. There was a theater there. So when you're waiting for your movie to start, you go into Venture and look at toys.
Yeah.
It tells you how long ago it was.
Yeah, dude. Because
there's an arcade there.
We used to have an arcade in our mall that was Aladdin's Castle. And so your K's merchandise mart still has like the sign for it up, right? It still has the logo and everything.
Yeah, because no one's bought the building ever since it closed.
I thought it was still like open when I drove by it. I took a picture of it on my phone. I was like, I thought these went out of business.
No, it used to be in downtown Decatur. And then when Venture closed,
these are like department stores, Midwest department stores.
K's moved into there.
Yeah.
And then they closed, and the only thing they really kept was like the jewelry section.
Okay.
And they moved across the street to the Brentwood Shopping Center. The guy that used to run it, Ray Eldridge, he retired, but the jewelry store is still open. I think he technically still owns it. He just doesn't work there anymore. But yeah, that K's has been sitting as an empty building for a long time.
Wow. That was a flashback, man, when I drove by that, because it looked exactly like ours. Like where our K's merchandise mart was where like the bigger Goodwill is over on Wabash. This means nothing to anyone out there, but like Venture, it was where our Hy-Vee is now.
Yeah.
So when I drove by that K's merchandise mart there, I was like, did I just fucking go back in time? Like that was a K's merchandise mart. Like I was like, what's going to be around the corner? A fucking national, a national, or shit?
Well,
Montgomery Wards.
That K's, I don't remember how long it's been closed. It's been closed for years.
Yeah.
And yeah, next to where it was, where the arcade, movie theater, and all that stuff used to be, they had opened a Schnucks that didn't last very long.
We had a couple
because we had a Kroger that I used to work at across the street.
Yeah.
And the Schnucks didn't do very well, but nothing ever moved into that K's. Next to it, at the end of the building, they used to have a Hollywood Video.
Oh yeah.
And they closed, and that's where Spirit Hollywood would open up their seasonal stores, or Spirit Halloween would open up their yearly pop-up stores, and then it moved down to the other side of that shopping center. So now I think like a U-Haul is in that end of the building, but yeah, nothing has moved into that K's, and that sign has been there. Yeah, probably fooling some people.
It fooled my ass, like driving by it. I was like, holy shit, there's a fucking K's merchandise mart.
Yeah, it has not been there for...
I'll have to throw that picture up sometime. I got a picture of it on my phone. At least I think I did. But yeah, I got a picture of it on my phone because I was like, what the fuck is that? The Spirit Halloween moved into where Montgomery Ward was in our mall. And it's not... Spirit Halloween's not there now because they put... On the upper floor, they put a Dick's Sporting Goods, and on the bottom is like a car dealership now. Like a fucking mall has a car dealership in the fuck. So, our venture is what the Hy-Vee is now. They didn't just put a Hy-Vee in the old Venture building. They tore that fucking building down and just built a Hy-Vee on top of it. Yeah. I love talking about like old stuff like that's not around here like anymore. Like when I was a kid, it was our primary grocery stores here when I was a kid. So we're talking 80s and 90s was Cub Foods, National, and Shop and Save. We still have a couple of Shop and Saves, and now there's still the couple of Shop and Saves. There's no National anymore; those went out of business. And there's now we have Schnucks, and primarily we have County Markets.
Yeah, our Cub Foods that we had, that of course not going to try to get political here. The unions threw a fit about in Decatur when they built Cubs.
They did that here too. When I was a kid, there used to be billboards up that said "Don't shop Cub Foods."
Yeah, it's a county market.
Yeah,
and I don't know if they were owned by the same company, if it was a rebrand or whatever. But yeah, County Market's there. But and speaking of venture, I don't remember where I was. I was coming home from St. Louis or something, and I saw an old venture building.
Yeah.
That still had the black and white stripe stand-up sign. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It's got the diagonal black and white lines behind the logo. I saw that, and I'm like, I know that ain't open, but
dude,
it's weird seeing that.
Our JCPenney still looks like it did in like 1987. Like,
it's not a JCPenney. It's still labeled pennies, isn't it? Or they finally
it's it says JCPenney.
Okay.
The way that it was like it would say JCPenney on the front of it, but the sign said pennies. Now, technically, they have like redone the front of it.
Yeah.
But not by much. It still looks like it's about 30 years old.
Yeah. I have a friend that used to work there years ago, and she was trying to explain to us how it's JCPenney's, but it's not. There's some franchising thing where it wasn't technically a JCPenney. It was its own thing. Maybe they finally changed. I don't even know. I mean, how many pennies are still open?
Neither do I. I'm surprised the one here.
Granted, closed years ago. It's a Hobby Lobby now. You know.
Yeah, our Hobby Lobby's on the other end of town. Where JCPenney is in our town. It's over on the east end. And I guess there's only a few things like that on the east end. There's that, and then there's the Walmart. But they're over by the Showplace 8 movie theater on Dirksen. There was a few things that were in that shopping center. Now I don't think there's anything in the main building, but there's a lot. There's like a big lots over there. But like in the main building, there's like a department store building. I don't think there's anything in it now, but it used to be just a different thing every few years. At one point it was a Jack's. At one point it was an Ames. It might have been a grocery store at one point. I can't remember, but now I don't think. Maybe they're doing like they did with the old Venture building before Hy-Vee moved in. Maybe they just were selling cars out of it or some shit.
Well, just, you got to wait now. There's going to be a resurgence now that Toys R Us is closed.
Yeah.
The people that bought the name KB Toys are going to be popping up seasonal stores at Christmas time.
You know what they need to bring back, though? If they're going to be bringing back KB Toys, they got to bring back Circus World.
Oh, my. That's a name I've not
heard about that in a while.
Yeah, I just remember anytime I go to the mall, it was KB Toys, because there wasn't a lot for me in the mall back as a kid. I mean, they had the arcade and the toy store usually for us, and then everything else was places we didn't really care to go.
Oh, dude, there was at White Oaks Mall, there was KB and there was Circus World, and
that's right, they did have two at one time, didn't they?
They did, yeah. Now the only thing that's in the mall now that was there when I was a kid was Sears. Sears is still there. Spencer's still in there. Bergner's, but that's about to be closed.
Yeah.
Man, is that really it?
There can't be much. I know they closed most of the places I like to go to.
Yeah, because Kohl's moved across the street years ago, and Kohl's used to be in the mall. Man, yeah, that might be the three right there: Sears, Spencer, and Bergner's for a little bit left. We got this couch at Bergner's.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because like we're sitting on like a big L-shaped couch right now, and Bergner's is now it might be called something different where you guys are at, because it's kind of called a different thing depending on what your location is. And in Iowa, it's like Youngers or something like that, but like it still has the same logo.
Too.
Is it? Okay, like Bergner's is going out of business, so like everything is like 60 to 80% off. So we got this. We were like, we need to take advantage of this. So we went there and got this couch for like, just like 70% off. I think we got it. It was still a little pricey, but like, hey, at least we've got 70% off for it, and it's fucking comfortable.
I haven't made my Bergner's trip yet. I made a few trips to Toys R Us before they closed, and boy, was that depressing.
I'll bet.
I went to one in St. Louis when I went to go see Ant-Man early. I had some extra time. I was like, I'm going to go to one of these Toys R Us.
Yeah.
And it was to a point where it was so packed, but it was basically only the front of the store was open. They had everything else blocked off.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a whole aisle open. It was just the front. You had the cash registers, a little bit of aisle, and just a wall of whatever they had left. And it was depressing. I had to leave. I couldn't do. There wasn't anything I really cared to have anyway. I was just looking. I was like,
when the Christian bookstore closed here in town, I went in there because they were doing a big sale, and there was a big DVD section in there. So I'm like, okay, those are like the most popular Snob episodes by far. If you look at the top 10 most popular uploads, like 8 of them are like religious movies, like Passion of the Christ, War Room, Saving Christmas, God's Not Dead, a lot. Like by far the highest midnight screenings we have is God's Not Dead 2. So I went in there like, okay, let me see what I can find in here. But the sales like weren't that good. Like it was like, I don't know, only like 10% off or something like that. I'm like, you know what? Okay, if we're talking like 50% off, like, all right, I'd probably come out of here like by the truckload. 10, 15, I'm like, I could honestly probably get this cheaper on Amazon.
Yeah, those stores, a lot, especially just any, I know they're not mom and pop, but they're not like the big stores. That was a chain, Family Christian and Mustard Seed and all those were chains. A lot of those, the markups, it's just like, a Toys R Us, they mark it up more than most places. They mark it up twice, basically. So I'm not surprised that a discount there or a clearance price there wasn't very good.
Yeah.
It's like, it's half off. This DVD still costs $30.
Right. One of the best deals I ever got was because I think Suncoast Video mislabeled it.
Oh, nice.
The tin that they had for Full Cheese the Beyond, regularly, if you were to go to like anywhere like Best Buy or anywhere else, it'd be like, at the time it was like $40 or $50. Suncoast Video had it labeled as like $15. I'm like, that can't be right, especially at Suncoast Video.
No kidding.
It was always like at least $10 more expensive than everything else. So I'm like, yep, taking advantage of this.
Yeah, at the time, Suncoast Video, whenever they were open, I don't even think they even exist anymore.
I was talking to somebody at a convention that said that they still had one.
Okay.
I don't know if that's still the case.
They might be pretty rare.
And that there's like 2 Blockbusters left.
I used to like to go there because at the time you could get the weird stuff there. You could get the odd stuff there. Whereas at the time, the department stores wouldn't carry that kind of stuff. At the time, I was collecting like Dragon Ball Z. So you could get those there, order them, and they get them for you where you might find one at Walmart.
I got my Caligula from Suncoast.
But boy, did you pay for it there. So if you got something that they mislabeled for cheap, A, lucky, and B, I don't feel too bad for them.
Same here. Like this was back when, because we're talking like late 90s or early 2000s here. So like when I had my DVD collection, may it rest in peace. When I had my DVD collection, I had like a shitload of like, Fulci movies, Bruno Mattei movies, all these Italian horror flicks, these cannibal movies, Italian zombie movies. A majority of them I got at Best Buy. Yeah. Like Best Buy would carry like Hell of the Living Dead or Rat's Night of Terror or Zombie, the New York Ripper I got at Suncoast Video. Caligula I got at Suncoast, the uncut version of Caligula I got at Suncoast Video. Like you could walk into those places and you could come out with a pretty good like Italian horror movie collection. not really so much anymore. Like, but no, I miss that because when I was a DJ, when I worked in radio from 2000 to 2004, like my Friday tradition was I get paid, you go to Best Buy, grab a couple of, exploitation flicks or whatever I wanted on DVD. And then I would go across the street to the mall, to the food court at the mall, and I get cheap Chinese food at the food court and eat it, be looking at the back cover. And like, no wonder I was broke. I was broke back then. Like I spent back, these are the days where I spent my money on 3 things, movies, booze, and drugs.
Hey, it's Ringo Starr's birthday.
Oh, right on. Cool.
Sorry.
I should read, I've gotten a response back from a couple of the $50 if you go to our IndieGoGo link, which is in the description of this video, and you donate anywhere from $55 to $99, we'll read whatever message you want on the air. If you donate $100 above, we'll ask for your contact information and we'll bring you up live on here. And so, okay, and make sure you check your spam folders too. So, okay, this is from Jody H, who says, I would like to say thank you for doing the video on your depression. I have suffered for years and just tried to power through it, always being told the last thing you want to do is get on antidepressants. To hear someone who knows what it's like to say, hey, they work, that was helpful. When shit started getting unmanageable, I wasn't afraid or ashamed to say, hey, my chemistry might be a bit off. I wish I'd done this years ago. I feel so much better. I still feel like me, not homicidal or in a fog or emotionless like the horror stories you see on the internet. I know it's not easy to put personal stuff out there like that, but as anyone with any affliction can attest to, hearing someone else's story can be helpful. Yeah, I did that video a couple of years ago because I was kind of going through a funk at the time. So I was like, so I did that because I was like, you know what, like, when you put out like a story like that and you do it in a funny way, in like sort of like you would as a stand-up comedian, because I've done that, I've told that story in stand-up before. So I was like, if you do it in a funny way that's really relatable like that, and also getting dark with it too, using a lot of dark humor, which I do quite a bit, I was like, this will probably help some people who are maybe going through the same thing that I am, and I can even kind of vent a little bit too. But the truth of the matter is I was in such a spiral when I did that I actually barely remember doing that video. No. I was just I wasn't on drugs and I wasn't drunk or anything like that. But I was I was mentally not good at that point. So I'm trying to think of what was I maybe thinking about when I was doing that, and what I can kind of come down to was like, okay, I want to help some people out there maybe not get to this point that I am right now, and maybe have a laugh about it and kind of come out of this myself. That's why I would guess that I would do that, because again, like I said, I was in such a haze. Admittedly, a lot of it probably brought on by pharmaceuticals, that I honestly barely remember doing that. It's on my site. It's not, I think it's an unlisted video. It's not, I don't think it's public on YouTube, but it's unlisted, so I think you can see it on my site. So no, I'm glad that helped a lot of people. It makes me think that I guess it was worth it doing that video. So I'm glad that it spoke to some people out there. But yeah, I don't remember much about that day.
I gotta say, I sometimes find videos like that helpful.
Yeah,
when I'm dealing with stuff. And I know there's things that I've said, like on some of my videos, that I really thought nothing of it. And people would comment on it saying, I'm glad someone else is dealing with this, or I can identify and things like that. So I'm glad she found some help.
Yeah, same here.
That, because I mean, sometimes, we put stuff up for whatever reasons, and it may not be the reasons that they get the intended result, it gets unintended results, and sometimes they're good, and like this, that's pretty cool that someone got something out of it. I'm sure they're not the only one.
No, they're not. I've gotten that. People have talked to me about that at conventions before.
You helped me a lot before I met you with your videos.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
Well, not just you, but
like, in fact, it wasn't you at all.
No,
there was
you made me worse.
There
actually.
was other YouTubers out there too.
It was mostly just like knowing you're not alone and stuff.
Okay. Here's another message from Michael Leary. Thanks for the contribution, everyone. Michael Leary writes and says, "Hello, Brad and company. I sincerely hope you're able to make this movie, as I love the first one and would love for the sequel to reach its goal. I was also very curious if you guys ever considered doing a chat video or videos of everyone discussing their all-time favorite films, like maybe a top 10 list. That sounds like it would be an awesome video, and I love watching you guys shoot the shit as it is. If you guys ever had the time or even wanted to in the first place, the choice is yours, of course. Anyway, I really hope this movie can be made. I've shared it to my friends and followers, so hopefully that helps. I'll certainly try to send more if I can. Thanks for doing what you do, and best of luck." Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your contribution. I've thought of doing not like a singular video where it's like, here's my top 10 favorite movies of all time. I've thought about doing like a month's worth of like daily short videos, like not unlike when you see like James Rolfe do the Monster Madness, where like every day it's like a short 3-minute review of something, or Doug's Disney December type videos. For years I've thought about doing something similar, probably in December, where every day it's like a short 3-minute review on something that I would put in like a favorite movie list. Like maybe I could call the series like 1,000 great movies or something like that. That way it's something I could just kind of continue throughout the years if I give it a number like 1,000. So I've thought about doing that in that regard and in that style. I don't know if it would be this December by any means, but because the reason why I haven't done it is those are very time consuming. We're talking like 30, 31 videos, even at just like a few minutes long each. I'm constantly doing stuff. I'm constantly between midnight screenings, between the Cinema Snob, between whatever movie I'm writing or am in pre or post production on. Sometimes just time just kind of gets away from it. What about you? First of all, where is your YouTube page?
The Real Geno, REELGENO. Between regular work, being a dad, seeing all these movies I see, time. Where's time? What's time? What's sleep? I find it difficult. Someone said to me the other day on my podcast, I've been doing, I call it a segment. It just seems like every week I have some new news on DC and Warner Brothers. So I call it, "What is DC doing?" Yeah. And she said, this is Desiree, and I know she's probably going to see at least part of this today. She said, "You should do a show called What's DC Doing?" And I'm like, "Another show? Are you trying to kill me?" I tried it. I've been trying to do some new stuff here and there, but it's always just, okay, am I going to get to sleep an hour today? Or do I need to record another show? Let's see. Gee, let me think.
Or just think of it like the chat just put it, which is that, hey man, time is a social construct.
Somebody saw Tag.
We did write
a fun movie, by the way.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Tag. We did write down our. And we could get to this now or later, but we did write down our picks so far of like the 3 best and 3 worst movies so far this year since we're halfway through. Yeah, we're like halfway through the year, so we did write those down, and we'll get to them later. We'll get to those in a bit. But did you get to see like you went to go see like a pre-screening of Ant-Man?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't you?
Yeah, it was a couple weeks early. They said they were going to show it the week of, and then they sent us another invite saying, by the way, here's the critic screening that only the critics will be at.
Yeah.
And it's like a week earlier. I'm like, yeah, do I really want to see Ant-Man 2 weeks early? Gee, let me think.
Yeah.
And so I went to that.
You do a lot more of those like early press screenings than I do, because really I can only go to the ones that are in Springfield, and that's only at the most like 3 times a year.
Yeah.
Is there ever like a thing like that in Springfield?
Yeah, I got hooked up with a company out of St. Louis. They wanted to hook me up with the Chicago company because I'm in Illinois, right? And I'm like, can I do Missouri, because it's a little over 2 hours to St. Louis and 3 something to Chicago, and then getting in and out of Chicago is a pain. And they hooked me up with the St. Louis company. I haven't gone to too many this year. Mostly the comic movies is what I've done. Because the mileage on the car, gas money, all that stuff was really starting to add up, because the first year and a half, 2 years I did it, I was trying to go just about every week if I could.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it's cool to see something early. It is. I still get that feeling of, wow, I can't believe I'm seeing this before everybody else to this day. But when the movie's over, a lot of these screenings are like 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So watch the movie, it's over at 9, then I got to drive 2.5 hours home. And then I got to be at work at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've been putting a lot of my vacations around when I know these screenings are going to be. That helps. But I've been trying to do less because I'm getting old.
What do you do for your day job?
I do graphics at a local TV station. And
3 in the morning?
3 in the mornings for about 16 years. So yeah, it adds up. Thankfully, my job allows me to work on my notes and graphics for my videos and stuff, because I have some free time. So I'm able to work on that stuff. So that's helpful, because if I had no time to do it at work, I don't think I could do what I do.
Yeah, no, like honestly, like when I was also working a day job, same way, because I was working when I started doing the internet thing 11 years ago. I was working a job where I was only at it maybe a few hours out of the day or something like that. If I was at it a lot longer, like I could have still done like Snob things and things like that, but it would have been far few in between.
Well, the quality would go down.
The quality of early Snob's not that good anyway.
No, but I mean, you wouldn't have as much time to write your scripts. You wouldn't have, because the podcast I'm doing now, it usually goes from 45 minutes to an hour and a half.
Yeah,
every week. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of notes. That's a lot of research. That's just anything you want to put into it. I mean, I can talk about anything, but to do it properly, I got to have proper notes so I don't forget something or something like that. And that takes I recorded my podcast on Thursday this week, and on Thursday night, I'm already finding notes for the next weeks because new stories will come up or updates from stories will come up. And so, if I didn't have the time to work on what I work on now, it wouldn't happen, because people don't. I mean, there are some people that just go see a movie and they'll stand in front of the camera right after they get home and say, "Boom, it's done." I don't like doing that. I like to think about what I want to say, and I'm not referring to the midnight screenings, because I know you have a knowledge of film and you've been doing it a while. Yeah. I'm just saying there's people that a little less experience. It's like, well, here's my video.
Isn't that like Stardust? What's the thing called?
No, Stardust is like a review thing.
Like, you get like 30 seconds.
Yeah, like right after the movie too. Sometimes like your first reaction though is more genuine.
Yeah. And I don't mind first reactions to anything. On my Facebook page, I used to do what I called the real first impression. And I would just throw, here's my quick thoughts on the movie, but then I want to take time and think about it. And then, you know, I like doing midnight screenings with you. Sometimes it's like, man, I need a minute to process.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Like, I am, it is...
Because I always like to think of it this way. You've probably forgotten more about film than I know. You know, so.
Forgot more about my own episodes, that's for sure.
I always just think of myself as a fan first. I mean, yes, I am technically, officially, and get paid to be a critic. Because I still have my radio. I don't do my TV spot anymore at the station I work at, but I still do have a radio spot, so I do that every week. And because they were nice enough and wanted to keep me on air.
There is bad. The stream health is in bad shape. The what? Stream health is in the red. Apparently, some frames are being dropped, and apparently it's getting kind of choppy. But I don't know what I can do about that.
Sounds like when I tried to do a video game live stream.
Yeah.
Because I'd never done a live stream before. It's like, let's try this. And it ended up, whenever it ended up on YouTube, the audio was about, 15 minutes behind the video. Something. Yeah.
Now it's turned into stop motion all of a sudden.
I'm not in this.
What?
I'm not in the shot.
Yeah, no, we're, I don't think there's anything I can do. I mean, we're still on. I don't know what the audio is like.
Is the audio okay?
The audio, what's happening is the video is kind of screwy, but the audio is fine. They say almost all the frames are being dropped. You're in stop motion most of the time, but the audio is okay. Well, yeah, I don't know what to do, but okay, now it's green.
That's good.
Yeah, now it's green again. Sorry about that, guys. No, I when I was because St. Louis is only 80 minutes from here, so it is kind of a situation where there's times where it's like, yeah, I could go to St. Louis to see something early. But everyone else has day jobs, you know, like, I mean, you have yours, and Dave has his.
Of course.
And when Dave's not working, you know, Sarah's working, so Dave's watching Sophie. Irving has his job. Brian does. It's hard to just be like, hey, on Tuesday afternoon, you want to go to St. Louis to see whatever the hell else is coming out. Oh, great. Now it's red again. Well, it was green for a second. I don't know what caused it to go green. It can't, no, signal's fine. I think it's just something on YouTube's end. Yeah, no, I think it's just something over on YouTube's end, unless it's just one of those things where, like, well, once you hit the 2 hour and 20 minute mark, you're fucked. Yeah. Someone goes, it reminds them of the old reviews. Oh, well, so that's nice. Yeah, that's it. We're doing this intentionally. We're giving it a retro feel. There is no background software on here. I just bought this laptop for purposes of doing this stream. So yeah, I don't. I mean, I guess I could. You know what? I'll put up another video. I'll put up just a quick one.
Chat looks like Phil Brave's on here.
Oh, cool! Right on.
Hi, Phil Brave.
It sounds like it's something just on YouTube's end. Because it's nothing on our end. Our signal is strong. our signal's strong and all that. So yeah, I mean the audio is fine. There's no background. There shouldn't be any background software going on. I'll check my other laptop.
He just said, "Hi, Laura."
that bastard.
Bastard Phil Brain.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw up just a quick video. I'll put up the. Okay, now it says offline.
What?
Okay, well now it's back.
Wait, it's just him on the camera right now.
Oh, okay. Well now it says it's live. All right, I'm gonna put up a video. So I'll be back here in just a second. Hello, as I sit here in front of the poster for my very first movie, Freak Out. It has probably been since the last time that this was in a Snob episode, which would have been when I was filming things in the basement within the first, I think, 5 years of the show, and this was always in the background. It's probably been since then that this was actually hung up on a wall. It used to be framed, and then when I lived in my previous place, it was one of the things that never made it outside of the basement, so it's kind of in rough shape right now for like the 6 or so years that it spent in the basement in Spiderville, making a home inside of my Freak Out posters. The edges are really rough on this thing, man. It just looks like someone started burning it and then gave up because, well, I've actually never seen this movie. Maybe I shouldn't burn the poster. Alright, let's stop, put it back in the basement with the spider. So it's kind of cool to be doing this in front of the poster. So I'm here, much like we did when we were doing the IndieGoGo campaign for Jesus Bro, where I came in front of the camera and talked a little bit more detail about the movie. Our next IndieGoGo campaign for our next film is for another Cinema Snob movie. That actually is the title of the movie. The title of the movie is Another Cinema Snob Movie. Because we're bringing that back. You know, every now and then you still see like TOO and something. Not so much anymore with another on there. So in the tradition of another 48 Hours and another Stakeout and another Son of Sam, there's another Cinema Snob movie. And if you want to contribute to the campaign, the link to our IndieGoGo campaign is in the description of this video, either on the site or on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to us at youtube.com/thecinemasnob, where you'll see more updates about the movie. There'll be more updates on the IndieGoGo page, also on Twitter as well. Follow us at The Cinema Snob over on Twitter. So this movie actually has a little bit of backstory. It almost got made, I want to say like 4 or 5 years ago. This was that brief period where I was still like technically on Maker after Blip went under and then it became Maker. And during this brief period, Ryan Mitchell, who directed the Cinema Snob movie, and he directed Jesus Bro and is the director on another Cinema Snob movie as well. He and I were approached about doing a movie for Maker, and it would be a sequel to the Cinema Snob movie, and they were going to fund it and everything. There were similar things that they were doing with other people on Maker, where they were given money to produce like specific content for, gosh, on some video platform. Not Maker, but something else, I think. Anyway, so Ryan and I were talking about different ideas and plots that we had for a sequel to the movie, and we did have a pretty good plot in mind for it. We at least had a good starting point on it, and we thought it would be a lot of fun. But the amount of time that they gave us for pre-production, filming, and then post-production and having this thing posted was very short. It was like a month or something like that. It was
Now, if it was a movie I was directing, and it had the budget of something like Disco, and was filmed like Disco, or any movie I've directed, Hooker with a Heart of Gold, whatever. Yeah, I probably could have done that in like a month. Something like this, though, with a much bigger budget, much bigger film crew, special effects, all of that. No, we were like, we can't do it. This would be a terrible product if we were to put this out like in a month. We don't have that kind of turnaround time. We can't do it. So the movie didn't get made, and then some ideas from it were then put into the script for this Hallmark Christmas movie parody that I wrote. Some of the ideas were then put into that, and then this Christmas horror parody that I wrote called Baby It's Cold Outside, that was going to be like our next big project after Jesus Bro. But in doing a movie like Baby It's Cold Outside, obviously it has to be released in like a certain month, you know, either like, you know, November or December. It's got to be done around there. So turnaround time on that would have been quick, like not to the extent of Maker wanting us to do the Cinema Snob movie quick, but we can do like another big project between now and like whenever we would do the Christmas movie, because there's a lot of pre-production that would be put into the Christmas movie that we have written. So we were like, we've got like, you know, plenty. We've got like a couple years, you know. We got between Jesus Bro, we got 2-3 years between Jesus Bro and Baby It's Cold Outside. We should really look into another Cinema Snob movie. So Ryan and I were talking about it and different ideas that we had that we could do with the characters and everything. We bounced back and forth a lot of different ideas for the script, and we really wanted to do it. We for a lot of reasons we did. We really do love the first movie, and it would be really, really cool to do a sequel to the Cinema Snob movie, considering how we have much better equipment now than we did with the first film. The first film has a lot of sound issues. It has some makeup issues with that beard on my face and everything. Like, so we thought it would be really, really cool to see what we could do to advance this story, to do new things with this character, with, you know, all of the equipment and everything that we have now. We can do things a lot better and be a lot more ambitious with it than we could with the first film. So we want to make it a road movie, where if you've seen the Cinema Snob movie, or if you haven't, the movie is about an exploitation filmmaker named Craig, who him and his business partner are trying to get a movie made, and it's a blaxploitation movie called Black Angus, and they need to get these filming permits, and the guy who runs the local film board doesn't want him making this movie, so Craig has to create this character called the Cinema Snob in order to infiltrate this film group, and then once he does, it kind of turns into an exploitation movie. It turns into like a giallo thriller, where there's like this unseen killer going around picking off different members of the film board, so now he's kind of going through this like exploitation movie mystery thriller. And then for this sequel, it's several years later, and he has a movie that's released in theaters, and I won't say what the movie is until later, but like until it's deeper into production and everything. But he's got a movie that's released, and it totally bombs hard. It bombs hard, is like laughed off the screen. It's a total fucking embarrassment. So he and the movie's director end up like hitting the road with a couple of other like fictitious YouTuber characters. They end up four of them end up hitting the road so they can make it across country to essentially get Craig's dad, who is this TV executive, to save all of their careers, because each one of them is going through different levels of controversy and low points in their career.
and he has to like don this cinema snob character throughout a lot of it as well, because that's kind of what a lot of these people know him as. So that's really the overall like plot of the film. But like the first one, it does turn into an exploitation movie as it goes along, because it becomes like this 70s road movie. So it's got different parts along the way. They run into, like, you know, there's this farmhouse of cannibals, there's this museum of clowns that come to life, there's also this like 2-lane blacktop plot with like another racer. So you have elements of like 2-lane blacktop, Vanishing Point, like Motel Hell, Tourist Trap, things like that. So it's like this like 70s style road adventure with all of these characters. And Sean Millington put up a campaign poster for us that's really cool. That's myself with like the clowns around me, and we're doing alternate versions of that because Ryan was concerned that like it looks like, at first glance at this, it looks like we're making The Hills Have Eyes, but instead of mutants, they're clowns, and that like that's the entire movie. So we're doing Sean is putting together like alternate poses where like there'll be the cannibal family in the back, and then there's one where it's just the snob in the mountains and like the road underneath them. So like the clowns are just like one aspect of the movie. It isn't the entire film. And this is an all or nothing campaign for IndieGoGo. With Jesus Bro, it was a flexible campaign. Like if it came in under the 50,000 we were asking for, we would have had to have made a lot of cuts and a lot of sacrifices, but Jesus Bro would still have gotten released. With this movie, it's a situation where if it came in under that and we still had to make the movie, it'd be a really inferior product. Kind of like what we were talking about with the Maker earlier. It would have been... Too much would have to be sacrificed. Too much would not be able to get made, and the movie would really, really, really suffer because of that. And we don't want to make a bad movie, let alone a bad sequel. So this is an all or nothing one, and like Jesus Bro, it's $50,000. So please donate, share, all of that stuff to help us get our movie made. And we have a lot of perks like we did beforehand that involve getting like digital copies of, you know, the Cinema Snob movie, Jesus Bro, Disco, also hard copies of some of those films, like a hard copy of another Cinema Snob movie. Also our 2 Snob DVDs, like the uncut, uncensored ones, like Nudies, Rudies, and Crudies, and Unerotic Fantasies. And there is another Snob uncut DVD I'm putting together, which is called The Cinema Snob Punches Nazis, and it's all uncut reviews of like 70s Nazi exploitation movies, like Nazi Love Camp 27, Red Knights of the Gestapo, Achtung the Desert Tigers, and a couple others. There's 5 episodes on there. That DVD is going to be released later, but it is a perk. Like, you can get an early... You get it sent to you before it ends up going for sale. So that's one of them. Our highest one on there, the highest one on the Jesus Bro campaign, the highest perk was having a role in the movie. In this, I don't know how much that would fit in this. But the highest perk is, and we added this later, the highest perk is actually getting your name mentioned in the movie's dialogue in context to something that's going on in the movie. So that's the highest perk we have right now. And like with Jesus Bro, you would say you get one of the a perk that's above the lowest one, you get everything below that as well. If you get the perk that's like Disco and the Cinema Snob movie, you also get the movies that come with the perks underneath that as well, and all the advantages of all those as well. If you get the one that's the 2 Cinema Snob DVDs, you get the DVDs underneath it as well. So it was the same with Jesus Bro too. Now, as far as casting goes for the movie,
there's not much I can say about that now because a lot of casting hasn't been finalized. In terms of the characters of the movie, there will be like actors who were in the first one that are returning for this, but not necessarily the same character. Obviously the Craig character is a return.
Should I stay out? Wait, can I go in the room, or do you think I should stay out here just chill?
Oh, whatever you want. Okay, anyway, we're back. I don't think that other video was done, but whatever. I couldn't tell if it was, I was like, I don't remember talking this long on this. Did this thing loop? But anyway, if you want to find out more about that, it's a video that we have up called more info on another Cinema Snob movie. I don't know what's going on with the, like, I've tried fixing this. I don't know if I'm going to have to shut the thing down and start it up again. At one point, it went, right now it's in the red as far as stream health goes. It did go on green for a few seconds. It went to orange at one point. So I don't know if this is, there are no applications that we have playing in the background. Our connection is good. This got to be something on YouTube's end. So even stopping it and starting it up again, I'm like, well, first of all, that splits up the video, and I don't want to fucking do that. So I don't know if it's gonna come back or not. So maybe when you play it, maybe when this goes to the archive and you play it back, maybe then it'll look fine, because that actually did happen when Irving and I were reviewing. We did a live midnight screenings of that shark one, 12 below. What was that called?
47 meters.
Yeah, 47 meters down. And there were frames that were being dropped, and the stream was in really, really poor health. But then when you watched it again later on, like when it was uploaded to the archives, it looked perfectly fine. Look, now it's green again. Let's give it a minute. It'll go back to being red. I have faith that it'll go back to being red any second now.
Oh, come on. Don't prove us wrong, YouTube. There it goes.
There we go. It's back to being red again. Thank God. I was really worried. So let's give it until the 3-hour mark. We've got 13 minutes until the 3-hour mark. We'll give it then. If it's not good by then I'll go ahead and stop it and start the thing up again, which will split the goddamn video, which I don't want to fucking do. But hey, YouTube.
Oh, that's going to help your stream out.
The reason why I had to split, okay, someone brought up a thing in here about the fact that the 12-hour stream we did for Jesus Bro was split, which it is. It is in like 3 parts. The reason why that isn't because we had to stop it or anything like that. It's because at one point in the video, we showed a video that Farad did. Him and his brother did like a Christmas video, like a Frosty the Snowman thing. And there was some kind of copywritten music or something like that was in that episode he did. And I wondered about that at first. I was like, is this video going to be okay? But I was like, well, maybe it's already on YouTube already, so maybe there's no clips in there that will get flagged at all. But there was. There was, and it wouldn't let me edit it or something because of the length of the video. So the video ended up getting deleted, and I had to get it recorded from an outside source. So like the first 90 minutes, I think, of the Jesus Bro live stream are like missing when you watch it in the archives, but it is in there in like 3 parts. Because it's some Frosty the Snowman song or something like that.
Well, the YouTube or the YouTube editing is crap anyway. I had a video. I was doing my playthrough of the Game of Thrones RPG, and there's a scene where one guy is checking on his friend who just died. He's gonna give the guy his last rites or whatever.
Yeah.
And the song that's playing, I got flagged for.
Oh,
right. So I was like, okay, maybe I can just. It's like, well, it's a pivotal part of the story, so I can't just cut it out. But I tried to anyway. And it's like, well, you can cut from here and cut the rest of the video. You couldn't cut the middle out, right?
Really?
Yeah, I was trying to cut just the music out, and it would keep the video. And if it's silent, fine, whatever. And no, it's like, no, you have to cut the rest out. Well, I talked after that, so so I had to take the whole thing off, find some music. Thank you, Audio Blocks, and find some music that kind of fit, and edit that in myself, and cut out their music, and then had to upload the whole thing again. And it was one of my longer playthroughs.
Yeah.
Thanks, YouTube.
Anytime I've had to use YouTube Editor, it's been fine. Like, except for that thing with the stream. But I had to use it every now and then. I do. If I'm uploading something from the archive and I have to snip out like the opening credits, which more often than not I have to do because like Joey Scarborough is playing. Or like a long bit of the movie's trailer is playing. To use it in that regard, I haven't really had any problems with. Like, it may be a frame or two ahead or behind where like the cut is, and you have to double check it several times. But no, other than that, but that's all I've really used the YouTube editor for, is a situation like that. I do have a phone call. We have us, and we'll go ahead and bring that up now. Again, like in 9 minutes, I'll.
Well, right now.
Yeah, it did this a second ago too, where it says it's offline. Okay, yes, it resumed. Now it's back. So okay, I'll go ahead and bring Dude up. I'll go ahead and bring Dude up right now.
You got a phone call?
Yeah.
Oh, hey Logan, he's one of my.
Oh.
Sure, he's probably one of your viewers first.
We'll get to a couple of these. Eric Anderson wrote, this was at $50 plus level, and says, "Hey Brad, very excited to see Snob 2, The Legend of Fat Grandma's Gold. Wish I had some stuff of my own to promote, but as is, I think one show you and Snob fans might really enjoy is last year's Amazon series Comrade Detective. The series is a parody presented as a lost Eastern European TV program from the 80s with a fully Romanian cast dubbed over by American actors like Channing Tatum and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. It makes fun of both the real Iron Curtain propaganda that it's pretending to be, as well as American Red Scare attitude towards communist countries. It's also a damn funny buddy cop comedy and is a lot of fun for people who like 80s throwbacks." I accidentally X'd out of this. Let me pull it back. There we go. I hope you can check it out and enjoy. Anyway, I've been a fan of yours for many years, and I'm really happy you're getting to make another Snob film. Good luck, and please pet Lloyd and Chloe for me. Any chance the cats will pop up in another Cinema Snob movie? Most likely, because they weren't in the first movie. So I'm like, yeah, the cats should be in this. Make it even more Lloyd approved than the first one. I think there is a part where like the main character is in his apartment. So yeah, there could be a place for Lloyd and Chloe. Okay, let's go ahead and give Robert a call here.
After this, I'll probably go get the ingredients for that.
Totally. He bailed after the choppy bit rate.
Hello?
Hi, is this Michael?
No, this is Robert.
I told you it was Robert. Hey, Gino, check out that bus. Sorry, Michael was the last one we read. Anyway, you're sort of live right now. There's frame rates popping out all over the place on here, but apparently the audio's fine. Which you're only on audio, so that should work fine.
Don't worry about it.
Thanks so much for the donation, man.
You're welcome. You're welcome. No, I'm a very big fan of you, Brad, and the Cinema Snob and everything.
Thank you.
What's sort of ironic is that your YouTube channel is probably my favorite YouTube channel on YouTube. Yet I'm not really that much into movies. I love horror movies. Other than that, I'm not a big movie person.
You're like, but I love watching people try food.
Yeah, no, I love the midnight screenings, everything like that. Just, no, I really do appreciate all that Team Snob does.
Thank you so much. Do you go out to like the movie theater very often, or really just not that much?
I do.
Yeah.
I moved to San Antonio in August for a job, and I got exposed to the Alamo Draft House.
Oh,
there.
okay.
So I definitely go a fair bit because I'm originally from Mississippi,
Yeah.
where you have access to nothing except for the biggest blockbusters.
I was just through Mississippi last January. And there were some parts of it that looked kind of Illinois-ish, and then there were parts of Mississippi that were significantly a little more swampy than Illinois.
You are definitely right about that. But,
Yeah.
I've seen good stuff like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Shining, a bunch of good classics on the big screen because of Alamo Draft House.
Yeah, we don't have one of those around here. We have a Hollywood Boulevard up in Chicago, which kind of functions similarly to an Alamo Draft House. I'm actually going to be around an Alamo Draft House here in a couple weeks. I'm going to be visiting Austin. If I have time, I might check that out because I've never been to one before. That'll be a lot of fun.
If I could ask you one question.
Yeah.
Now, I know you're a big, I know from a couple of videos, you're a big Super Mario 64 guy.
Oh, yeah. I have it sitting right there in front of me like that's still in the 64.
No, it has a special place in my heart because it was the first, like when I was 4 years old, I got a Nintendo 64, and that's the first game I ever played.
Yeah.
It's my second favorite game of all time. If you had to pick a favorite level, what would you say is your favorite level in 64?
Either of the snow ones. Like the one with Snowman's big head, where it's the secret painting in the upstairs. Also, the main one on the main level. I do love the snow levels a lot. I like the slide in the first snow world, and I like stuff like Snowman's big head, and the music in those, the music in those for the snow worlds, I really enjoy. I do like what is it? The one with the mystery mountain on the side with the mystery on the side of the mountain where you go into it and it's a slide level. What is that called? Where it's the big mushrooms and everything, and the monkey steals your hat, and that one I really enjoy. Those are my favorite ones on there. My least favorite Oh, I love with the lava, Lethal Lava World. I love that one. Where you go inside the volcano, Tall Mountain. That's what it's called. Lethal Lava. I love that where you go inside the volcanoes. My least favorite is Wet Dry World.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not a big fan of that one either.
Yeah, like at least like Jolly Roger Bay, like at least that like the music in those and Dire Docks and all the music in those is really soothing and kind of dreamlike, and those are cool. But like most Mario games, the water ones are like the worst, man. So Wet Dry World, I really don't like that one at all. But yeah, I go. Oh yeah, dude, yeah, and I totally get that. And Jolly Roger Bay, I'm honestly like, as far as water levels go, I am fine with that one because there's really nothing that frustrating about that level. It's not hard at all to get all 6 plus the 100 coins. It's really not that hard at all. It's kind of an easy one to breeze through, and it is way less frustrating than Wet Dry. Yeah.
Your video, because for me personally, it was by far my favorite Mario Collectathon set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then when you even, it's got some of the best like post game material that I've ever seen in a game in Mario Odyssey, because the post game material is essentially Super Mario 64 Part 2.
And plus some of that post game is super hard. I still haven't gotten a few.
Oh, dude, yeah, I was like, it would take me a lifetime to get every single moon that's in this game. Every single moon that's part of the post-game stuff. It would take me a lifetime to do that. Like, I can get all the post-game stars in Mario 64. That just adds up to 120. Like, Mario Odyssey, though, I'm like, I'll put this on once in a while to kind of play through, but I'm not going to set out to try to get every single moon that's involved with this game. Maybe if I had a lifetime to kill.
I know you all are busy. So, but I want to thank you all for all that you do. Absolutely love the channel. Love all of Team Snob. Laura's amazing. I love the banter between you two.
Oh, thank you.
Just love all of Team Snob.
Thank you so much, man. Thanks a million, and thanks for the donation, and thanks for the question too. I hope you have a great weekend.
Okay, you too, Brad.
See you, buddy. We've hit the 3-hour mark, and it's still really, really shitty on there. So I'm gonna have to. Man, I hate to, but I think I'm gonna have to stop this and restart it again. Right now, under stream optimizations, it says there's 3 choices. There's normal, low, and ultra low. The one that it's set on is low latency, which says best for near real-time interaction with minimal playback buffering. The one underneath that is ultra low latency, which says does not support DVR, closed captions, and 4K resolutions. I don't know if that makes a difference at all. Like I said, this appears to be a problem just on YouTube's end. So yeah, it's not fixing itself. So I'm gonna have to just stop this and start it up again. So all right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and stop the stream.